What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You're listening to Ninja Knight. This is Real Talk number 7. Crazy to even think that there's 7 episodes of this, and obviously I missed last week. Apologies for that. You know that I don't like missing these things, but things happen sometimes, and I was busy, so I let people know early in the day on social media. I know that I put it up here on YouTube, and it's something I'm going to ask people as well too. Did you see that post on YouTube? That's something that I want to know, because I know a couple of people commented on it as well, but I just wanted to know, did people see it by and large? Because as we know, when you're looking at these platforms are messing about. And actually, funny story, I'll tell you something there now, because I've seen it during the week. A couple of people have been talking about losing subscribers. They've been talking about the channels moving slow. And it was really just confirmed to me this week, because I saw a channel I did, and the channel is, I think, maybe a year or so old now at this stage of the game. This guy's done a couple of interviews with Hasbro. Now, I mean, 2 or 3, and very milquetoast. Nothing very interesting in them at all. The guy has just crossed 12,000 subscribers in a year. And I was just looking, because, I have a bit of an idea when it comes to YouTube as to how these things look. And the view count on each of his videos maxed out in and around 500 views. And I was just like, I'm pulling in at least 1,000 views a video at this stage of the game. Some views are obviously smaller than others when you talk about entertainment or you talk about action figures or anything like that, because I know myself as well that a lot of people that have tuned into this channel now are tuning in to see what's going on in Ireland and the wider world. And I can see it from the analytics as well, from the wide, I would say, worldwide amount of people that are actually looking in at this. And it's something else it is to see people all over the world in different countries, and they're probably Irish, I'd say, more than likely, because I know that because they're not using an awful lot of subtitles. I think it's something like 2% of the people that watch the channel use subtitles. Now, good luck to the algorithm to finding out what I'm saying with certain things as well too, obviously, as you know, because Irish people speak very quickly. And it's something I've figured out and I've known for a very long time. So it's easy for us to understand each other, but a little bit more difficult for them. So I was looking at that. And then I decided to have a look through the channel. Now, I mean, again, every success to everyone that's out there. But I said to myself, that's a bit strange. It is that he's gotten 12,000 subscribers in a year. And then I had a look and I was just like, oh, we crossed 10,000 2 months ago. And I was saying to myself, I was like, again, I'm smoking this fella for views. I was like, I'm outviewing this guy, no problem at all. Like, and with videos that I'm like, well, that video will do okay. And then it's actually surprising that you're like, wow, that did about 1,500 views. So I was looking at that and I was saying to myself, I know exactly what that is now, I do. And a couple of people then were in touch as well, and a couple of people in the action figure community and that as well were saying the same then themselves. They were like, hey, we're not on Hasbro's good side, and this is what we're getting. Now, I'm not inferring saying it was Hasbro that did all these things, but I do think it's very funny when you see someone that has 12,000 subscribers and yet they can't pass 200 views on the videos. I think that's quite odd. It's also something I've been seeing, and again, as a wider sort of approach when it comes to this. I know that I'm approaching the 6,000 mark, which is absolutely unbelievable. It is. And I think the shows have topped out in and around 200 live viewers. But again, I was looking at some very big, now I mean very big podcasts that are out there, and actual popular ones as well. And a variety of them. I always like to see across the board. I think I was looking at Jimmy Dore the other night there, and I was looking at him live, and it's something like 898 viewers. And I was like, he's a well bigger channel than I am. And he's about, I would say, 4 times the amount that I generally get. And I was like, that's mental, that is. Now, are they stopping people from being able to view that man live? Because I know he talks about what's going on in the world as well too. Or is there something else going on? Because I've seen other channels then as well, like the Logan Paul channel. And I was looking at that and I was saying, that's not getting an awful lot of views either. That was topping out at like 500 live viewers. And they have millions of subscribers, them lads. So I was looking at that and I was like, that's a bit strange, it is. But everybody that's on YouTube knows the game with what goes on over here. If you're not over here, though, yet, as I keep saying to you, if you're an Irish patriot, join up, put out videos, talk about what you think is going on. And it's helpful because now what's happening now is you're seeing the mainstream media totally collapse. What you're looking at right now in real time is a collapse of society. You are seeing politicians now that are so brazenly in your face telling you lies. You have gripped media that are out there now with a wonderful video. I'm going to show the image of the video because I've reposted it there on Gab. I'll show you the image of the video because it comes from Gripped. Now, I don't know if we can play their videos on this. I don't know what the story is with copyright. I must reach out to Ben, or if anybody knows Ben or anything like that, ask him and see if we can play the videos on here. I would, obviously, before I even say that, suggest people go across the Gript and have a look at the video that he did with Pascal Donahue. Now, I know probably not in John McGurk's best of books there or anything like that, and I'm not a fan of John McGurk either. But the point still remains that Gript are doing good things. So anyway, he put Pascal Donahue on the spot. We'll be talking about it a little bit tonight, but put him on the spot. And Pascal said something that's totally the opposite of what people actually think. So in my opinion, that's an out-and-out lie. And that's a brazen lie. And you're not only seeing it just to the media and different members of the media, you're also seeing it in the Dáil, in my opinion. Like, you're seeing things being said in the Dáil, and you're like, do you know that this is on record? You know that you have a stenographer there, don't you? You know that this is all transcripted about what you've been saying. That's how I'm able to go back and look at certain things and say, this person was responsible for this and this person was responsible for that. That was how I was able to go back and look at who was the fella that decided to ban the boomsticks here in Ireland. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting character. I typed up the name then. And what do you know? He has a relative, a descendant, that is currently sitting on the Supreme Court. I was like, well, what are the odds of that? What are the chances of that there? Very slim, isn't it? And with all these people, what you're looking at is dynasties as well. And what's happening now is, because the world has gotten bigger as such through the likes of social media, it is becoming very small for those people. Now, I know that might seem, I would say, maybe even hypocritical, or maybe even a little bit like, I think, at odds with each other. The world becoming bigger, but becoming small for them. But it is, though, because you're starting to see the connections between people wider in the world, and again, then closer to home. Like, you're looking at people now here in this country that are running this country, and you're going, hang on here, who are you related to? Who are you married to? And what are they doing? Oh, they're working for that company. Wow, that's a bit of a conflict of interest there now, isn't it? And then you're saying, like, oh, for example, there's Simon Coveney. This is a fella that they don't talk about much at all, by the way, who should be talked about more. Simon Coveney and Rory Coveney, his brother. This is a fella that's in government, and Simon Coveney, who said outrageous things about immigration into Ireland not too long ago. And you've Rory Coveney then that's working at RTE. Is that not a conflict of interest? How is that possible? And these are people that people need to be talking about. You see, Simon Coveney is probably the most intelligent person in Fine Gael. He has the other people that are out there that are running around, and they have their little, I would say, attributes to them that, oh, you can't talk about Leo being gay. But that's all that Leo talks about. And then he's running around out there celebrating an Indian festival. Loads of people were underneath the comments there on Twitter, and they were saying, hey, where was your best wishes for, where was your well wishes for people in Ireland on St. Patrick's Day? Seem to be missing. So these are the stooges. These are the people that they send out, the Pascal Donahue's. I mean, he was voting for a fella with a lisp, let's be honest. Then you've got Helen McEntee, another one now that's currently under fire, so they're starting to move her out of the way, and they're starting to put other people there to say silly things so they can distract you. But what's Coveney doing in the background? What's Stephen Donnelly doing? You know what I mean? That's another name that keeps getting forgotten as well, and it's one that people need to be remembering, need to be talking about. And, I'm seeing a lot of the energy that's really good. I'm seeing it online about these people resigning. But I'm being honest with you when I say this. Resigning gives these people a choice. These people shouldn't have a choice. They should be arrested and they should be incarcerated immediately. Right? The time for the kid gloves is off now at this stage of the game. You're looking at Luke O'Neill constantly spouting out nonsense. And he's able to do it through News Talk. Today, I just ratioed News Talk on Twitter with a simple tweet. They were talking about, I don't know what it was that they were talking about, Luke O'Neill. I have the quote, or I should even say the screenshot here now tonight, and I'll show you. But this guy is out there after being wrong about countless things, and he's still out there peddling nonsense. So I was like, this guy should be in prison. Now, I got more likes than News Talk did in a faster amount of time with less views. Now, that is a news organisation that is gloating, running around going, we have 798,000 listeners. Do you really? How many of them are shopping centres? How many of them are individual shops that play this nonsense in the background? How many of them are that? How many of them are actual listeners that are out there? And not only that then, because Bauer, who own News Talk, they're a very clever company, a German company, by the way. They're starting to try and move into the podcasting game too. Be very wary of whoever you see with the Bauer logo. And there's another one as well too. I did a video on it not too long ago as well that had another one where they have like a kind of subsidiary. But it's all connected. And these people see the power of the podcast now. They see the power of this sort of stuff because they're going, let's get Micheál Martin one of these things. Micheál Martin doing a podcast, that is absolutely hilarious. Who's tuning into that? I think I might pack it in and I'll listen to Micheál Martin. That's what I'll do. So anyway, complete and utter nonsense. But you're starting to see the whole thing. You're starting to see the picture now. The thing is playing out now in front of your eyes now. What I would say the end game is playing out in front of your very eyes. And we've gotten to the stage now, by the way, where these people don't care. Like we're there. We're right there. We're right there where they're brazenly telling lies. And they're telling you things that are completely against reality, really. And I mean, that is one of the plans of these people. The plans for these people is to alter reality so much that you won't know what is going on in front of your very own eyes. You won't believe your own eyes. You won't believe your own ears, and you won't be able to critically think. The thing that the government and the media fear more than anything else is a critically thinking population, people that are able to sit there and think and say to themselves. And again, this is the thing, and what I love, and this is something that I will keep talking about. What I love about this community, for example, is people will jump on, say, for example, Toby had a space there last night. Unfortunately, I was only able to dip in and out of it, had something else on. So you're able to go on and talk to people there that, whilst they share the same views, you might have differing views with certain things, and that's good. That's great, that is. But they're all working towards the one goal, which is this should be a nationalist, sovereign country that's able to look after itself and not have to worry about peddling resources out to the likes of EU or anywhere else, or be told what to do by anywhere else. Why is this a country that has a migration problem? And I mean, it is way out of control now. When you have adverts that are advertising Africans ad nauseum in adverts here, that is absolutely ridiculous. That's like going to Nigeria and saying nothing but white people in adverts over there. It's nonsense. It's like going to China and saying nothing but Hispanic people in adverts in China. You wouldn't get it. But what's going on in these Western countries, this is what's happening. And what has happened over the last few generations is there has been a systematic attack upon people and their livelihoods, and also then their mentalities and the way they think. You have people, and you just have to look, in my opinion, I'm looking at a lot of the podcasts, for example, like Fresh and Fit. You see some of the stuff there, for example, when they brought on Nick F. If you haven't seen that, have a look at that. Maybe have a look at the SOS SOS cast there. This is one of the guys that's linked in with Valuetainment. Have a look at his interview with Nick F and the people that are around it, and you start to see what's really going on. You see people that are sitting there, and I know I'm talking about an American side of things, but it all is, to me, to be honest, for an awful lot of other people. People had their suspicions about what was going on here for a very long time, but America blew the lid off it, because when they showed what they did in 2020, you were like, whoa, they did that in front of everybody. And not only that, then after that, then the news media just lied then about the sniffles continuously, even though they've been statistically proved wrong to what they were saying. They're not backtracking. They're not even saying anything about it. They're like, we're worried about the orange man. We're going to put him in prison. It's just like, hang on here, back up here for a second. You're not looking at the mortality rates here, people. You're not seeing cases of the suddenlies absolutely spike. You're not seeing heart attacks spiking through the roof. I mean, you nearly have an athlete a week and celebrity a week now. Like, I mean, this is where we're at. We're at celebrity a week now that something's going on with them, something funky, and then they're rolling them back out. Jamie Foxx, they clowns Tyrone. And he's rolling out going, guys, I'm fine. Everything's cool. It's just like, hang on, that's not the same dude. It's no way that's not the same guy. No chance, man. And you're sitting, and I mean, we all have a laugh and stuff like that about that. But in all seriousness, they have people now that are out there peddling messages for them through all of these systems. And people are looking at it. And in fairness to the likes of Joe Rogan, in particular, with his podcast, blowing the lid off it. He's just like, look at this. This is ludicrous. You got PBD now with Valuetainment that's coming up now and doing a brilliant job there as well too. We really like them. And again, a great panel of people that they put together, because they have people on that you would disagree with and they disagree with within themselves. It's great stuff. It's absolutely fascinating. Now, I'm not talking about, they don't bring on an awful lot of lefty weirdos or anything like that, because you can't have a coherent conversation with those people for very long. So they don't do that. Kevin Samuels used to do that though. And I mean, here's the thing. Kevin Samuels, by the way, was a guy, he was a relationship guru. If you haven't heard of him before, I'm sure you'll hear of him now, and you'll go and have a look at him then after the fact. This guy was absolutely brilliant, he was. But he had 1.92 million subscribers. That guy passed away last year, and after a week was totally forgotten about. I'm sure it's the first time you've heard his name. This guy was super influential, and he was one of the people, I would say, that the likes of Tate and even, I would say, some of the people in that sphere now of Red Pill had listened to, and they were like, hang on, this guy's got it right here. He knows what's going on. And after a week, gone. Forget about him. Don't talk about him anymore. This is the sort of stuff that you live by now at the moment. This is the modern world. Look at all the celebrities that have had issues over the last year. Yeah, that person that's real famous and you'd really like, yeah, don't worry about them. Okay, it's on to the next one there. Justin Bieber has an issue and his wife has an issue. Yeah, don't worry about that there at all. Lance Reddick there is promoting this thing there only a couple of weeks ago and then has a case of the suddenly, I don't know, lads. I don't know what happened there. He was only, 58? Crazy stuff. You're seeing these things happening all the time now, and these people are like, it's the weather. Absolutely nuts it is. But anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. This is episode 7. 7 is an important number, you know yourself. And I'm going to jump into the chat now and say hello to people. Kevin McMahon says, don't be late, Ninja. I'm waiting 2 weeks for this. I was in here. I set it up for 7:45. I was just like, give yourself time, be safe here. John McAllister says, hello, lovely weather. Well, you know, that's an interesting point that you're at to bringing up there, John. And I'm going to bring it up here in the stream here tonight because they have an article there. Well, I have an article from the Irish Daily Mirror there that are like, people are starting to notice that these planes are flying over Ireland in loop-de-loops and they are actually flying and it's in circles. What's going on? And it's like, well, guess what? That's to let people know that this cloud seeding stuff is actually happening. Now, I don't know about you, but what I would do, and I've seen other people do it as well too, by the way, I've seen Ben Gilroy, in fairness to him, he's been putting it up on Twitter every time he sees it. Anytime he sees the lion's been drawn in the sky, he's like, burp, there you go. And I've said it to multiple people, by the way. I'm saying to them, oh, it's a fine, lovely day, is it? Yeah. And they'd say, yeah. And I'd say, look up in the sky, see them drawing lines there. Within the next hour or two, it'd be torrential rain out for the rest of the day. And wouldn't you know, I have been actually right about that one. So they're kind of looking at me and they're like, all right, Nostradamus, what's coming next? And I'm like, well, do you want to know? Because you're going to have to get prepared. But this is where we're at now. We have had the wettest summer of, I think, all time, they're even saying now. And of course, they're going to spin it with, it's actually the climate change and you have to pay more taxes for this. Pay more taxes to people to fix the weather that can't fix the hospitals and homeless crisis? Yeah, I don't think so. Bad idea. And in the meantime, they're telling you, hey, by the way, guys, RTE is struggling there. We might need to bail it out there in the budget. Listen, anybody that has that sort of idea, they should absolutely be arrested and be put into prison. Any politician that decides to want to do that, it just shows you, it's again, like I said to you, it's revealing their hand. And the more times they do things like that and say things like that, you know, in one respect, I'm like, go on, do it. Bail them out in November. Bail them out and do it through taxes because then people will know for sure. And they'll know how much you lean on that company. And they will realize then, because like the younger generation, like my generation, some people that are older than me and definitely people that are younger than me, do not watch RTE. So that's an empire, I suppose, that is scrambling to see where they're going to get their next propaganda platform next. They don't know what to do. They're looking at this platform on YouTube and they're like, oh, yeah, we probably have a bit more control over there. But then they look at Rumble and they're like, yikes. You know, there's a bit of red tape over there too. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of strings that are put on people too. Don't get me wrong there. But at the end of the day, it's still a viable alternative and people can get information out there. So, yeah, weather's been good. Geek weather, people are saying there in the chat there as well. Ashton Ryan here, it says Kevin Mohammed. Yeah, it's been raining now for a guts of like 2 months. One decent day you're getting out there drawing lines, by the way. Derek Manna says, if you have a question or comments for our host, please use @NinjaKnight in the chat. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Welcome back there, Derek. And thanks to all the mods as well, too, by the way, that are doing tireless work here in the chat. Refusing Sean says, Ninja Knight forced notification I've had in months. Maybe it's the time. I wonder if it's the time. The time's changed. End of the line, Joel says, Ninja Knight, YouTube limits your notification reach. Saw nothing. Always the way. David Healy says, Ninja Knight, you saw the notification on YouTube in my subsection last week when you posted it. Good to know that. Now, Fergus Powers in here says, Ninja Knight, good evening, brother, and all you beautiful patriots. I have to speak on a Twitter space, but I'll bounce back later. Okay, have a great show, night and weekend, and God bless all. Aaron Gabra, absolute legend. Hope you run for a place in, I think, in an election going forward, Ferg. I'm telling you now, man, you get the people behind you 100%. And the more people that do that, it's going to put the frighteners up, these people that are in the establishment. They're hoping that you're going to be sitting back going, oh yeah, Sinn Féin take care of this. Did you see the video that they put out this week with the women? I have a video coming on. I'm going to probably drop it tomorrow. It's hilarious, it is, because I've stitched it up lovely. I have with the Owen O'Brien thing. Now, I have to be honest with you, it's a decent video. And it's not often I say that. We've got in here as well too. Story in Ninja, no notification against is Liam Gillespie. Absolute nonsense there is. I thought maybe the change of time might have helped. Derek Mann says the old YouTube is cracking down this week because of the 2024 elections. yeah, no doubt. No doubt they're going to want you to talk about all sorts of different things. Finola on Muraku says, "Oh, saw that. Pascal made a show of himself as usual. Pascal refused Nick Sean. Pascal couldn't lie straight in bed. Oof. Hope that questions is about Pascal as well too. Anyway, allegedly speculatively, the point man says, "Happy Friday on this dry evening, haha." I just don't trust anybody with a lisp. If I'm being honest with you, if you're a person with a list that's out there listening to this, sorry, but if you're a decent skin, but if you're not, hope yours. Crash Hat says, "Hi Ninja." Adrian Bourne says, "Incarcerate the whole lot of them. They are criminal, the talking heads of the doll and media heads." Great comments. And when you start to see these people start to move the way they are with the police as well too, when you have police turning up to protest like the one in Ballybrack, by the way, and they had a detective turning up there that turned up with a boomstick, that looks like political policing. Now, I don't know about you, but when people are ordinary people just turning up to a place just hanging around and they're being told, hey, what you're doing is criminal, well, it just makes the people that are doing that and giving those orders to be actual criminals. That's what it looks like. Because why else would you be doing that if they're doing something peaceful and that's not causing any harm whatsoever? The country's literally being invaded. It is at the docks and at the airport. But you're sending these people down here to tell people to get off the street. Why? Well, the reason is so that other areas don't have those sorts of ideas. And that's what's happened. It's gotten out of hand now for them. East Wald's been doing it. Finglas has been doing it. Ballybrack's been doing it. And many other areas are going to do it. Tallagh's been doing it. Many other areas are going to do that. I'm going to say, right, enough is enough. I'm not having this. And so what happens is you have pockets around the place then that people are not happy in, and that then generally turns into people then rising to the top. And I say that in that sort of manner because you will have someone in an area that will take it upon themselves to say, hey, I'm going to run for election here. Now that's what, as I said before, I think people need to be getting together, Nationals and Patriots. I think the likes of Orden Force, the Irish Freedom Party, National Party, don't know what's going on with them. But they need to be sitting down together and be like, right, strategically, let's look at these areas and let's take these areas instead of splitting votes. Best thing to do. And again, it just, for anyone that's out there that's like, oh, it's not going to do anything like that. At the very least, it's going to make them do outrageous things. And that's what you need. And that's what you want. Because what you want is what happened in America where people are going, yeah, man, won that, did he? Sure, the fella can't string a sentence together. And then not only that, then he's sniffing all sorts. And I'm saying all sorts. I'm talking about young people. He's out there doing that in public. And you're like, what? And this is what's going on. But you have to tell you about the Orange Man and him having relations with women, like legally consenting legal age women. And they're like, hey, the other fella, don't worry about him. He's going around sniffing the heads of lads and guards, like, but don't be worrying about him at all here. There's nothing to look at there. It's mad, isn't it, as well, too, when you show pictures of that fella to people and you're like, here, look, there he is down there. And they're like, that couldn't be right. And you're like, no, it is. But yeah, incarcerate a lot of them. That's my view. It's just like, well, this whole idea of like just resign, this is not a football match, lads. This isn't like, I suppose Jose Mourinho or Eric Ten Hag or Jurgen Klopp or anything like that. This isn't a thing of like, well, the job hasn't gone too well. I'm out here, good luck to you, and I'm off to somewhere else. Now, these people should be sitting in prison to deter. That's what prison is supposed to be, by the way. It's supposed to be a deterrent for people to do the same things. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what should be happening. Politicians should be stuck in jail to be like, oh, don't do that again. Now, what are they going to do? Well, they're probably going to do something themselves like that. They're going to say, well, these people that are nationalists and patriots and all that, we're going to put them in jail. That's what they're going to try and move towards. It's not going to work, though, because people just need one martyr, and then that's it. Then people go, oh, not into that, not having that at all. Let's keep going here as well. And yeah, people are talking about places burning as well, too. That's all by design as well. Richard McKevitt says, evening, everyone's already been away so long. Had other things to do. Great to see you're still all here. Keep our lit ninja. Good to see you here, man. Hugh says, is there anyone left in Nigeria? They all seem to be here. They do. There was a fella out there that was criticising Ian Garry. Best of luck to Ian Garry, by the way, on the weekend. Hope he wins his fight against Neil Magny in UFC. Criticising Ian Garry. And he's talking about households and all that. And I was just like, what are you talking about households for? You're from Nigeria. You probably live in a tin pot shed. What are you talking about? The household. You wouldn't know anything about a house. And then there was like 15 comments underneath it that were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're saying these things. And I'm like, but they're facts though. These people live in tin pot sheds. That's why they're coming over to places like this. Like the guy that's a UFC champion there in Israel Adesanya. I don't know whether he's a current or former. I think he's current. The former champion as well too, Kamaru Usman. These fellas don't reside in Nigeria. What does that say? That's why Rodriguez du Plessis is getting people's vote. When I say vote, they're paying for the pay-per-views. He's like, I'll be the first African champion that resides in Africa. And these fellas have blown a gasket. The likes of Adesanya and Usman. Now, I like what Adesanya to say about certain lists and stuff like that, about islands and all that, But The bottom line is this: they ain't living in Nigeria. Why is that? And these fellas are worth a few quid. Irish Vanguard says, where are these people going to live after they are all out of the doll? I can't see how the likes of Roderick are ever going to be able to walk around Ireland again. You see, that's the important thing, I think, when it comes to these things. People need to be speaking to these people when they see them. And like that, you see people, and when people are going, oh, politicians are living a life. Listen, people don't have any qualms about talking to the likes of football managers, football players, and telling them what they think of them on a night out or anything like that. People don't have any thoughts about saying what they think to Gary Neville or Roy Keane or Jamie Carragher or anything like that. So why should you have any sort of a difference when it comes to a politician, especially that these people are affecting your life? That's how they use the media, though, over the years. They use the media as well to bat you away, to say to you, you shouldn't be talking to these people like that. They're no different than you and me. No different at all. And people are starting to wake up to that now, and they're starting to say, right, this classism that's going on here, it's over, it's done. Irish Red says, Ninja Knight Kevin Samuels was a legend who he had a good bit of criticism for the 304s. If anybody knows what the 304s is, that's new internet lingo that's going on. And it's catching on. It's catching on nice. What there's after been in the last couple of weeks and I'd say months as well too, is that there's been a massive resurgence of people now. I'm seeing it all the time now, like people posting screenshots of likes of Instagram models pages and stuff like that, and people are like, put clothes on. And I mean, overwhelmingly, the comments are saying these things. And I'm like, wow. And then you've got other people then that are promoting certain platforms, by the way, that's very lucrative for women, but it's also causing a massive issue with society as a whole because, as you know, when people are earning money and they are people in women that are supposed to be finding a spouse, supposed to be finding a partner, and supposed to be procreating. They're more interested with buying the Gucci Louis Vuitton bags and heading over to Ibiza and having a great time with old, Enrique. And then Enrique is not anywhere to be seen then. And then they hit the wall when they hit 31 and they're like done. They don't know what to do. Look at what's going on with Dylan Dennis at the moment. I like to talk about things that are going on around the world as well too because it's very effective. Dylan Dennis at the moment is posting pictures up every day. And I mean every day he's relentless of Logan Paul's fiance, do we say? I think fiance. I don't think she's married him yet or anything like that. This is a 31-year-old model that was hanging around not too long ago with Leonardo DiCaprio. Now everybody knows what goes on there, and he's posting up pictures every day with different dudes and different videos. And he's just like, here's a woman that's played the game intelligently insofar as she's pretended to be very, I would say, conservative. And Logan is like, oh, this is great, this is. And then it's totally flipped now. This is a multi-millionaire now that she's absolutely having her jollies with. And I have to be honest with you, you're looking at it and you're like, this is fascinating it is to see this. And all of the podcasts, like Fresh and Fit even, they're talking about it. They're like, this dude's a multi-millionaire. She's a 31-year-old with nothing to give. She's broken down. She's done. She's hitting the wall here. This is the last chance saloon here. And she's giving off an impression like a chameleon to get what she needs. This is what's happened. That's a big talking point as well too. Men are starting to realise, by the way, big time how important they are. And over the last few years as well, you've been drummed with, and again, this is all coming to a head with this Snow White film, by the way. You have the lead actress that's there. A lot of people calling for her to be removed from the role now. You have the lead actress that's there, that's supposed to be playing Snow White, who the evil queen is jealous of because of her looks. Now, I mean, this is Gal Gadot that's supposed to be jealous of this woman, Zegler. Not even comparative. Gal Gadot's off the charts in comparison to this woman. But you've got that sort of mind frame now in women as a such, and you've seen it now with Barbie as well. You're seeing all the articles, I broke up with my boyfriend after the Barbie movie, and it's just like, this is exactly what these things are designed for. But it goes back to what I was saying. I'm going to relay a story there that Kevin Samuels told. And Kevin Samuels told a story about something, I think it was the Bear Grylls show called The Island. Has anyone ever seen that? Well, I think it's in episode 2 that they had to basically show that the women are not on the same level as men. So when you see the likes of Sinn Féin posting the videos that women are powerful, nonsense. You're talking absolute drosh there, you are. Women can make good decisions. Well, the women on this island didn't when it came down to base necessities. So if the world shuts down tomorrow, men are seriously important. And you ain't going to be surviving without dudes. That's just how it goes. But these Barbie movies, not that they put this sort of idea into women's heads. Oh, yeah, I'll be fine. No, you won't. You absolutely won't. And this is what's happened over the course of generations. So Kevin Samuels, anyway, I'll continue on. He was relaying this story and he said, what happened in the first couple of days? Well, what's happening is what's happened in the show is you're given 2 canisters to fill with water, to purify water. Well, what happened? The women were off in one camp and the men were off in another. The women build, and this is what women do, by the way, they build an idea through consensus. So if the group thinks that, they're going to do that. Now, there's generally one or two that will sort of say things, and sometimes, and you know what it's like to be in a room sometimes, and you hear some ridiculous stuff, and people agree with it, and you're looking and you're like, the lads that are sitting there looking around going, I don't agree with that, but some of them don't have the cojones or anything like that. The Lee Roadie, I would say, to speak up. Different stories coming down the pipeline. I'm telling you now, lads are starting to change. It's great. But you've got these people and these women that are on one side, and they're given the same provisions as the men, and they see a pig, okay? What do? They have to survive. They name the pig. The pig becomes a pet. What's going on over the men's camp? The men are working together and they're saying, hey, look, this isn't good, but what we're going to do is we're going to put some lines together. We're going to fish. That pig that's over there, yeah, get that gone. And they're like, that's dinner. Quick, effective, easy. So they name the pig. They don't know what to do. They have to send in a team basically to help these people out and say, look, you're going to have to get rid of the pig. Like, this is how it goes. And someone else does it for them because they can't bear it because they've named the pig. What do these geniuses do on this side of the fence? Well, what they do is the men are thriving over on one side, by the way. The women, on the other hand, have decided to put some of the pig meat into one of the water purifiers. They've halved their water consumption. Halved. What happens then with the pig meat? It becomes putrid and they have to throw it out then. So that's the canister and the pig meat, gonskis. And now they've one canister left. They had to send in a team, a rescue team essentially, in to sort it out because they were going to be no longer here. Like, that's how it was. If you haven't seen the show, have a look at it because Kevin Samuels relayed that story on not too long ago. And I was like, must check that out. Had a look around and I was like, I cannot believe this. So that's why when someone turns around to you and says men aren't needed, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. And again, people, and in particular men and women, deal with things in different ways. Women are very emotional. And you're seeing that as well through the media. People are becoming very media literate. They're going, hey, they're appealing to people's emotion. And that's why you'll see with articles, by the way, just so you're aware of this as well, and this is how things go. They're saying these things now in the media. These far right groups are appealing to people's emotions. They know exactly what they're doing when they say that. They know that fellas in particular that are on this side of the fence and women that are on this side of the fence, because shout out to the base patriot women that are out there. They know that people are being appealed to with their emotion of, hey, look at what's going on in your area. Do you feel safe? Do you feel scared? Do you live in fear? And this is people of all ages, by the way, with families. So this is what the media are keenly aware of. They've been able to manipulate that for years, and they've been able to manipulate people's emotions for years. Look at who the most prominent people are, and it is no surprise that it is women who are the most anti-Trump that you will talk about here in this country. It's no surprise. Now people are starting to look around and they're going, I think that guy was actually right about what he was saying. You're seeing the memes go away. You're seeing the conversation points around him go away because times are getting hard. And you've got a lot of women now that are looking at, for example, those specific sites, and they're looking at it and they're like, time's hard. That's why the tech sector, for example, a lot of these people have joined those types of things. And then when they dip and they sack them, then they're looking at, for example, this content creation. And I'm not talking about what I'm doing. I'm talking about other things that these people are doing that fellas will look at that and they go, I want no part in that. Because there's a big shift happening with men now. And men are starting to turn back to looking for modesty. Nobody wants to wife up someone that's a 304. Nobody wants to do that. So there's a big shift happening now at the moment, and it's great to see. And it's happening in different ways around the world, and it's also then in unison, I think, batting away what is absolute evil. We are combating absolute evil, and I am absolutely 100% sure that we're on the right side. I believe that what I'm doing even, and I mean, you might take this one way or the other, but I started up this channel I did talking about cancel culture and talking about what I thought was right and what I thought was wrong. I believe now that everybody that's on this side of the fence has been touched in some way, spoken to, whatever way you might call it, or called upon by God at this stage of the game. Because evil has been rampant over this last number of years. And I think people now have just said, right, I've had enough now. And they're right. And you're starting to see a real combat happening now. And you're seeing a titanic battle happening in front of your very eyes. Like I said before, when people have unplugged from what's going on with the mainstream and politics and politicians and realizing what's going on, that's forevermore. Do you also think that that's just them? It ain't going to be. It's going to be partners, wives, progeny, kids, aunties, uncles, grandparents, parents, whoever it may be, friends, are all going to start becoming awake to what's going on. That is a huge problem for these people in mainstream. Like I keep saying, it is difficult. I know people as well too that said awful things over the last 2 years, but they're starting to come around. They're starting to understand what's going on. And little nudges and little prophetic sayings are very important. If you were able to get ahead of the mainstream news, that's very important. Like that aspartame thing. I know a few people that I told about that I did before that came out, and they were like, "How do you know that? That's absolute nonsense. No way that that's true." And then, of course, then the telly told them it was true, and they were like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "Well, wait and see, wait and you see what else I can predict." And funnily enough, now some people that are 100% on side and get what's going on. I'm asking people now, by the way, hey, you've gotten 5 and 6 of these things from these companies. Are you going back for number 7, 8, 9, 10? What's the story there? Are you going? And they're like, no, no, no. Now they won't go into it, but I'm sure they're feeling scared. So anyway, let's move on. Andrew Torbay, this is a fellow that owns Gab. This fella's brilliant. He says, Gab stands firm against censorship demand from New Zealand government. Dear Gab community, we want to keep you informed about an important development involving Gab and its commitment to preserving the principles of free speech. So Gab has stood firm against New Zealand. So New Zealand, of course, now it makes sense when you see all of the countries that are involved here that are looking to get involved with censoring free speech. Your Facebooks, your Instagrams, by the way, so as you know as well as I do, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are all owned by the same company. This Meta company owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. They're actually actively talking about people being able to get data from your WhatsApp nowadays. The same with Instagram as well. They have a new feature, a new terms of service. I think that guy's name is JD. I think I've put that video up here. Never see him here. The guy with the long red hair. He's in America. I think he lives in Florida. He does a lot of that sarcastic news, brilliant stuff he does. And he's like, these people are able to listen in on your conversations now with true terms of service. And this is what's happening in the meantime. Was it's effective what's going on in social media. Be under no illusion that these social media companies are using that information then and are doing things that are very untoward. So look, it's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other, you know. But fair play to Gab. Gab is doing great stuff for this because it's like, now it's telling governments in these countries now you can take a walk when you're looking for people's data. Now, good luck to you. I think that's a good thing. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Ryan Tubridy dumped by RTE and will not be returning to the airwaves. So the media is in panic mode right now, and this is coming from the independent.ie. So this is a big distraction, in my opinion, from Stephen Donnelly, because Stephen Donnelly's name hasn't been uttered in, I'd say, the last year. Now, this is a fella that's overseeing one of the biggest, in my view, scandals that's ever happened here in history. I can't wait for people to watch Reeling in the Years in 20 or 30 years' time. Like, remember that. That's if they're around. Remember that there, guys. Yeah, well, you know what you said in the Jordan those times, don't you? Remember that, don't you? Because I certainly do. But anyway, you're going on Ryan Tubridy here. Ryan Tubridy and this whole RTE thing is a big distraction. What it is a company, in my humble opinion. Now, these are only my opinions, and I'm only giving you what I'm thinking. I'm not saying this is fact. I'm not saying yet this is exactly what's happening. I'm just saying what I think. In my view, what's going on here is this. This company are well aware that the license fee and payments for it are on the decline. So what do you do? Well, in my view, and what you've been seeing from other businesses that do something similar, is they start telling people, hey, the people have decided that they ain't going to fund this anymore. They're not paying for it. We need a bailout. We need help. So what way is better to do it than an absolute demolition like this? Demolish it from the inside out, like a big psyop, make the people feel like they've won there when RTE there has to go and get a bailout. But at what cost? Well, the cost is this, and they're floating it out there, a household tax. So it doesn't matter whether you watch RTE or not, they're just going to tax you. Now, tax, in my opinion, when it comes to these things, is absolutely outrageous, considering the fact there's people that are out there that have said that they don't own the TV. So they're being taxed for this. The same with this property tax as well, too. It's absolute nonsense. Now, I've got people on a poll there earlier on, and there's another poll I have here tonight from the Journal. Excuse me, the Journal. It's called the Journalist, left this rag. But anyway, I did a poll earlier on Twitter, and currently it's sitting at 98% there of asking people, will they be renewing their TV license? 98% are saying no. So that's in and around, I think, 200 to 300 votes now at this stage of the game. So that's not bad. But you've got people now that are saying no, and I'm meeting people all of the time, allegedly, spectively, that have said, nah, it won't be renewing. So does that play into the hands of these people? It sure does. These stories aren't playing into the hands of these people. Roy Tuberty not returning to RTE makes no difference. Makes no difference. Still has the money. When this fella's sitting in Mountjoy, and when people at RTE or whoever made these payments are sitting in prison, then you can say, okay, right, they've actually done something serious here. Right now, it's a bread and circus. That's why they brought sports back. Be under no illusion during the sniffles. They brought sports back to distract people. They've gone heavy on pushing out entertainment over the last 2 years. Why do you think they've stopped it now? And they're like, we'll do a strike now. They're doing a strike now because they realise at this stage of the game, they're like, well, we don't have to keep people entertained anymore. The sports is going to do that for the time being. And people are getting more aggravated about things like this. It's not working. Disney's at an all-time low. They've had flop after flop after flop. They've had something like 5 flops in a row now. People aren't going to see this stuff anymore. And it doesn't matter to them because they're all playing into the ESG score. So this Tuberty stuff here is a pure and utter distraction in my view. This fella should be made held accountable as well too for the likes of the promotion of the Voldemorts, 100%. But are they going to do that? They aren't unless people call for it very seriously. People should be calling for arrests here when it comes to these things. I mean, that's what a police force should be doing here in this country. Not running out the likes of Bank of Ireland's cash outlets. Is it even cash outlets? What would you say? Hole in the walls? Would you say probably more accurate? And they're running out there and, you can't take your money out here. What if you're a genuine person that needs to take money out? You can't do that now. You see how much and how far these things shift really quickly. Loads of energy to send Gardaí out to the likes of holes in the walls there, but no energy there to send them out and arrest this fella and stick him in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, bad stuff, isn't it really? What about the fella that's supposed to be running around? Is it a fella or a woman that's running around the company beginning with P when there's a big court case going on there? I can't come because I'm after being given threats online. No, that's not an option here now. You have to go to the court, like, when it comes to these things. Are you just saying now that you can just abscond and you can just say, no, I'm not going to go? It's not for me. Because if that's the message that you're sending, well, you're sending a very bad message to everybody else because everyone else is going to say, sure, why would I go? No different to me. That's how it looks. You've got New Talk here. New Talk audience continues to grow at 798,000 now tune in every week. Bauer Media Audio Ireland. Now, that is the company. That is the German company that owns News Talk and it owns a variety of other things as well. It also owns various podcasts and some that have been made a little bit more popular, by the way. And whatever you may think about that one, I don't know. But here we go with this one. News Talk continues to be the station of choice for a generation of talk listeners with a weekly audience of 798,000 and 7% national market share. Isn't it interesting how they can say this? Well, have a look at their likes and have a look at their comments and their views on their YouTube videos. That's something that people do. They go onto these platforms and they're doing it in the millions. Don't be worrying about the YouTubes, lads. That's got nothing. That doesn't factor in at all. I'm sure you did factor it in. I'm sure you did. But when you say these type of things, then you're getting low likes, you're getting absolutely harangued in comments. You are the ones that you're posting up on social media, and you're getting harangued then on the YouTube comments. So what are you talking about when you have 798,000 listeners? What are you basing that off of? Are you basing that off of car radios? Are you basing that off of shops? Were you basing that off of people that are listening to the radio on their gaffs? That's not happening anymore. I don't know anybody that does that. My ma used to do that when I was growing up, which doesn't anymore because she's like, sure, I have Spotify and all these type of things. So she doesn't do it. So who are these 798,000 people? And the last time I checked, by the way, the census said that there was way more than 798,000 people living in this country. So you're awkwardly admitting, by the way, is it 1/5? Would we even say 1/5? 1/5 of the population are listening to you? That's not good numbers. This is supposed to be the station that's overtaken RTE. These are supposed to have more integrity. These are people that are not under the cosh now at the moment. These are people now that are supposed to be saying things and bringing on different people and are supposed to be gathering interest, and you can't crack 1 million. You're not embarrassed. You're publishing this out saying this is great progress. Now I know next year they'll be saying, we actually have over 1 million people listening. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You should be cleaning up. This is how it should be. With the money that's been put behind you, people, you should be cleaning up. I guarantee you now that if these people set up a live stream and start doing live streams, that I'd have more viewers than they do. There's currently 168 people here in the chat now at the moment. Make sure you like the video. Thanks very much. But I guarantee you now with 168 people that I would have more people right here, right now, listening to this live stream than they would if they did live streams. I'm telling you, I have absolute faith in that. And if you don't believe me, what I would like to see then is if they did decide to do a live stream, I want to see people in the chat then. I don't want to play this game of 168 people, or for them watching, or 170, or even 300 people watching, and there's only about 2 people commenting, because that's another weird look there as well, too, lads. So a cop between a rock and a hard place when it comes to that. And this little Gonzo production, this little channel here with nearly 6,000 subscribers, is doing this type of these type of numbers. It's crazy. 798,000. I can look at my analytics and say it's over 1 million views that are on the channel. Do you see the way I can word these things? And I can do that, but I don't like to say those type of things, because I'm like, well, that's pointless in saying I have 1 million views over the course of the channel. The channel's running like 2 to 3 years now. Is it 3 years? I think it's 3 years. Running 2 to 3 years. That's a non-event. But they can't get likes and views on social media, as I said here. So why are they talking about these things? They're trying to talk themselves up, because this is where they're trying to move this, by the way. They're trying to look at RTE. Now, again, there's a number of ways of looking at that. Does RTE start to go by the wayside and they go, right, we need to remove that altogether, because the best thing that we can do is basically rebrand, or we can go somewhere else and say, hey, this is what we're doing over here, and the talent just moves across. You know that that's inevitable when it comes to these things. It's like when a club goes into the relegation zone and they go down then, like in the Premier League, inevitably you're going to have people that are going to jump ship straight away and are going to move somewhere else. And you might never ever hear that club ever again, or it might go into administration, whatever it might be. And it's a way of moving people about. Look at the amount of football managers, for example. I'm always amazed the amount of football managers that can get around, and players to different clubs, and I'm like, they're woeful. And the same in Hollywood as well too. But it's all, I would say, more so in Hollywood, it's all because of connections. Maybe football too, I suppose you could say that too. But in Hollywood, it's certainly that way. And when it comes to these media people like that as well, nobody's following these people and giving them more than 10 likes on most of their posts anyway. So it's all nonsense. It's all dross. This is the video I was telling you about. So Tommy there, he shared this out. He did. More people are needed on Gab, by the way, in Ireland, which is great. And there's a fantastic amount of people that are following me over there, which I'm very appreciative of. But more people on. I would hope that Crypto would get on here and start posting the videos up here. But this is the video again. I don't know if I can play it or not, or anything like that. I don't know what story is with the copyright or anything like that, so I'm not going to chance it. But anyway, the point and large of it was this. Irish Minister Pascal Donoghue says he sees no evidence that the public oppose hate speech laws. Tommy says these traitors put in place by the people completely ignore the people to push their own agendas. From Pascal there now, but the old lisp is out there. This is a fella, by the way, that had shares in Diageo. There's articles out there that confirm this, by the way, so this isn't just me talking out of me other, you know what. There's an article out there that says he had shares in Diageo and he signed them over to his wife. No conflict of interest there or anything like that, you know what I mean? It's not like there's anything going on there at all. So anyway, this is how out of touch these people are. Now, they're not out of touch. This is the important point to make about these things. They're not out of touch. They know exactly what they're doing. They're getting a few sound bites there now that are going to live on for another week or two. In fairness there to the lads that are on Twitter, they've started the trend resign Pascal after resign Helen has been doing serious numbers there now, in fairness to them. They've been trending resign Pascal. So, to me, I think a more effective thing, I know some people think the arrest thing is too serious. I don't. I think that's where we should be going. But why not call for these people seconds? This is where we're at now. 75% of the people here in this country don't agree with what these people are at. And that's on an immigration level. Do you think people are going to want their speech being totally censored and be criminalised? I would say 90%. And I'm giving 10% there because you always have 10% of people that don't know their proverbials from their elbow. But they still haven't got that number. If you walked around to most people and did an L survey, and this is something I'd probably love to say now, now that the Irish Inquiry have been doing it as well. The Irish Inquiry have been doing a great job. They've been posting up there on Instagram when they're going around asking people what they think about, for example, the books that are being promoted, the 4-year-olds, and people by and large are like, not at all. And there's one individual that's like, I don't see the problem with it, I'm a them. And you're like, goofball or us there. Fair play to the Irish Inquiry for interviewing and letting people know, look, they're all the same, lads. When you just have to look at them, you just know exactly what their politics are. So going back to this here, this is just another individual, another stoogie that's had to be stuck out there now to be saying ridiculous things. There's absolutely no way, in my view, that this man is actually going out there and actually saying this and believes in it. Not a chance. Not a chance. If this fella was called Pinocchio, the nose would be going through the camera at this stage of the game. Absolutely unbelievable that you can stand out there with a serious face on. There you go, Pascal, with your serious face on there and saying to the camera, to Sam Ben Scallon, that you guys don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this hate speech thing is unanimous. Well, all of the other idiots that were in the Dáil that decided to vote for this have a very rude awakening coming when it comes to knocking on the doors and talking to the electorate, because people are going to tell them what they think. Now, I know that you sleeving little snakes that are out there that are in politics that are going to be looking for votes that have voted for this sort of stuff. Loads of you are doing little sneaky things like putting leaflets in the door, and a lot of you have been hiring, particularly fellas from Africa, from what I can see, walking around. That's very nice, isn't it? There, lads, hiring the Africans to be walking around there in the heat and in the rain, there to be stuffing leaflets into people's letterboxes that they then have to dispose of themselves. Great spend. Isn't that a great way to spend money, lads? Isn't it? Because guess what? Social media is reflective of what people think of you. You see, your leaflets work with the likes of little old ears. They go, there's Pascal now. He's after going around and he's after saying that he's after helping out with the local Tesco. It doesn't work with me. I'm done. I'm like, see, all of you people, you're all the same to me. You're all on the same team. No interest in you. Won't be voting for you. And in fact, if you knock on my door, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of you in no uncertain terms. So that's how I feel about these things. So Pascal going out there running cover now is exactly what it looks like to me and what it looks like to an awful lot of other people. But this is a party that's coming under massive pressure, and it's happening for all of them. But none of them are budging. This is the thing. They're at the point where they don't care. They don't care about what's going on because there's no repercussions and no consequences for these people. And when I say that, I'm talking about legally. I'm talking about democratically. Because these people are just going to go, sure, general election comes around again and still going to retain me. See, that's the importance of running in these local areas and becoming a figurehead in these areas. So little goofballs like this fella, little dweebs, little dorks like this guy here can't run around and go, the people are great with this. Why don't you have the likes of a Ferg from your area that's running around going, yeah, the agree with that, and you have 10,000 people there saying, no, we don't agree with that there, or a petition or whatever it might be. Again, same thing, sends a message it does. And these people are ultimately, and I mean ultimately, afraid of losing their seats. And like I said to you beforehand, I don't believe that these things are, you know yourself, when you see what happened in America, I'm like, well, Ireland, I'm certain that it's probably going on here too. But it makes it more difficult. It's made it extremely difficult. And I'm telling you now, America's going to be one to watch in 2024. If they start messing around there, I don't know what way it's going to end up over there. But last time it was a close cut. But I think this time it's going to be like, right, this is it now, lads. We have the numbers. I think that's the way the Yanks are going to look at it. I really do. It's going to be interesting viewing. I think the thing though that has sort of split people, I'd say, is the emergence of L. Roberts, with the old surname Kennedy. I think he's the one thing that's maybe pushed people to go, I don't know who I'll vote for, because both of them are saying good things and I like to cut your man's jib and like what he's saying. So maybe that might come up between them, but the Democrat Party don't seem to be too interested in putting Robert forward. So that's again going to be an interesting one, and he's been basically shadow banned there with these places. So Pascal is out there and he's telling people, hey, the hate speech stuff now, people are looking for this. No, they're not. Who's looking for this sort of stuff? NGOs, goofballs, people that can't handle what's been said to them and the truth. And by and large, as you know what they look like, you know what they sound like, you know how they behave. And these are people that are useful idiots, as Satirical Soldier likes to say, for the likes of Marxism. These are people that just want to drive on this sort of stuff there and are unwilling. Well, I shouldn't even say unwilling. They're unknowing idiots that have no clue that when the machine decides to roll towards them, it ain't going to stop. So, useful idiots. RFK on the Jabberoonis. This is a military project in the beginning. Well, I mean, you just got to look at what happened here, the efficiency with which it was carried out, and people will laugh, and some do, about the current state of the defence forces. But the way it was manoeuvred out was pretty efficient, wasn't it? Oliver Anthony, this is a guy that's become big now over the last week or so. So when they say to you, hey guys, your side is totally not losing and totally not winning or anything like that, whatever way they want to put these things, and say, oh, you've got a win there, but you are losing over here. The culture is something that's effective, and something that Toby was even saying there last night. People wonder why I do videos of entertainment and why I do videos of action figures. Why do we do it? It's important because what happens is then someone might jump into one of those videos, have a look at those, and then jump in here and be like, oh, I like what this fella's saying. Oh, I didn't realize that this was political. What are you talking about? ESG score? What's that? Who's linked to that? And again, you've opened the mind there rather than talking specifically and just about one thing. I started this channel, as I said, about entertainment, and I decided to maneuver my way into different things because I'm just like, this stuff's all connected. And I opened my mind as I was going along. I see Versatile, they're doing excellent now at the moment, which is great to see. They're doing brilliant work. They're also getting great views. And the cancel culture attempt that was made on them has utterly failed. They then went on a tour with Snoop Dogg I mean, if that's not winning, I don't know what it is, because the individual that decided to try and cancel and then is nowhere to be seen now, was doing adverts for Dunn Stores not too long ago. Bum. An absolute bum. So you're finished. But what's happening on this side of the fence is people are actually hungry for the truth. They're hungry for a cultural shift and they want it and they're looking for it. And guys like this guy here, this Oliver Anthony character, very simple song. And what's amazing to me is this: 10, 15 years ago, this song probably would have done all right. I'm not going to lie. But it's blown up the airwaves now because people are like, right, this is where we're at. You know, we posted the song tonight there along with the Instagram post that I made to link people in here to this show. And it's Tom McDonald's American Flags. It was up for 3 days. It had 3 million views. It's absolutely whooping some of these Billboard chart artists that are out there putting the likes of Taylor Swift and all that in behind them. It's great to see. This is a cultural shift that's happening here. And this guy is doing great with views too. I don't think this fella even, I don't know whether he even possessed a YouTube channel. This video just came out of nowhere. It's just a chap playing the banjo. He's talking about the rich man north of Richmond. Now, north of Richmond is Washington, D.C. And then he's talking about the island and he's talking about miners and all that. And you're like, the lyrics are brilliant. They are talking about overtime and it's worth nothing. The money is worth nothing to him. And he's working all day and he's getting nothing out of it. I mean, it's a very simple message that everyone's feeling. People are feeling like they're going out to work, they're working really hard, and then they're going home, they're saying 90% of the money going out the door because they're saying, hey, hang on here for a second. I'm being taxed with a sales tax. I'm being taxed on my car. I'm being taxed on my property. I'm being taxed doing this and taxed doing that. You're getting sales tax when you're going into the shops. The shops are giving you less but charging you more. Look at a bar of chocolate, for example. A bar of chocolate there from Dairy Milk is down from 200 grams to I think 180 grams now. That's 20 grams less and you're paying more. And it's not just chocolate bars, it's everything else. You've been paying for petrol, you're paying for gas. When the winter rolls in, it's going to be very interesting because gas bills are starting to hit people and they're saying, hang on here, for 2 months now, I'm getting charged over 200 quid. And this has been a very, I would say, wet summer, but it's not been a very cold one. And that's during the summer, people are getting bills like those. So when it becomes the winter and it's getting cold and people are struggling to pay these things, which they are going to be, then you're going to see a very interesting shift. But fair play to this guy for standing up for what he is believing in and talking about what is happening in the wider world, obviously. Elon Musk here on Twitter, it says, block is going to be deleted as a feature except for DMs. Says it makes no sense. Now, here's the thing with this, and this is the way I think when it comes to these things. Elon Musk has been doing good things on Twitter. There are still a number of characters that are running around in the Twitter here in Ireland and in the EU that are prohibiting accounts from getting bigger, in my humble opinion. They're prohibiting people, shadow banning people. Dylan Dennis, like I said, take a quick swig there. Dylan Dennis there, like I said, has been posting picture after picture of Logan Paul and his missus and stuff like that. And over the course of a few days, you couldn't even search up and find Dylan Dennis on Twitter. You couldn't find some of the stuff he's been posting, and his likes have been going down. Like, I mean, cratering. He was hitting like 65k likes on certain things he was, and then recently he's been sitting at about 2,000. He's like, I'm shadow banned over here. Someone's made the call to Twitter on the other side of the fence there and told them what's what. Now, the Pauls, by the way, are multimillionaires, so they possess money. They possess real money. And for him, he's looking at it and going, look what's going on over here. So Twitter is still a platform that has a lot of ground pains it's going through. Elon, I'm sure, is still wrestling her off people. People will question what's Elon's ultimate motives. Who knows, you know? But to me, this could be a good thing here. This block thing, by the way, and this kind of features into what I was talking about on the last time I was here on Real Talk. The block feature, from what I understand, maybe this is why he's doing it, was said on, I think it was the Valuetainment we're talking about on PBD. I think it was them, or maybe it was even Andrew Tate. And they were saying that the more times you're blocked, then the less reach you'll get, because they'd be like, this account's getting loads of blocks. It's a troublesome account. Now, what have the left been doing over the last 5-6 years? They have been in unison targeting accounts and saying to people, block this account, blockchains and stuff like that. So now I'm starting to think, I'm like, well, maybe people like Andrew Tate were right when they're saying, hey, this thing has been linked in with blocks and then shadow bans. So maybe this is a reason for them doing it. But the other side of the fence is this, and what people are thinking of, which is, hey, it's been nice to block lefties. I've been a very big advocate of that, by the way, because I know then that their reach is going to be lesser. I know then that they're not going to get any attention. I know, and I like the fact that Satirical Soldier takes screenshots of what they do, puts it up on his Telegram and says what he wants. I think that's excellent. And then these people get upset by that. I think it's hilarious. But what you might see with this, unless Elon fixes it, because we have seen it before, is that when the unblocking, we should say, happens, you'll see these people start to do what they were doing again, which is mass reporting accounts. That's what happens to Gavin Pepper, from what I understand on Twitter. We've seen it. I've seen it. I've showed you the images, by the way, on previous live streams. Quick speak again, mouth destroyed to this evening. I need to be talking to you about that, I suppose. But we've seen it with Gavin Pepper, we've seen it with Satirical Soldier, we've seen it with various other people that have posted out pictures of them gleefully reporting these guys and getting them banned from these social media sites because they don't like what they say. So is Elon Musk going to protect against that? Is he going to be protecting people against mass flagging? Because there are politicians that are out there that have blocked people on these platforms. Now, if you're a public servant, I don't know about you, but certainly I haven't said anything too choice to any of these individuals. All I've ever said is you're disgrace to the country, you've turned your back on our country, such things like that. I don't think that that is too out of the realm of truth, and these people have blocked you. I've also said beforehand that I've had Garda Info that have blocked me as well for no reason. Again, very little that I have ever said to them on Twitter, but decided I was blocked. Now, could that come down to someone saying, hey, this fella might wake up a few of the members here? I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with that, because I like to think that I come across rationally. I like to say that I come across logically. And I think that may be a factor in some of these organizations. You know, as a fact now at this stage of the game, that people that are in organizations do not want people that are working within these organizations to be listening to people that are telling the truth and are asking questions. It's a big problem for them. Big problem for them. So this is going to be interesting to see what way this shapes up. We'll see what happens with Elon Musk and what he does there. He's doing good stuff for the moment, but it remains to be seen. Vigilant Fox put this out here. It says RFK. It says we have 4.2% of the global population. How come we had 16% of flu-related stuff there? Whatever health authorities were doing was catastrophic. COVID, Gonski's but right by country. US 3,000 per million population. Haiti 15 per million population. Nigeria 14 per million population. The argument against such figures is that Haiti and Nigeria have much younger populations, which is true. But if you look at Japan, which has the oldest population in the world, and it had 1/10 the passings into the next round that we did, Kennedy concluded it was not a public health response, it was a militarized and monetized response to a public health crisis. Well, that is absolutely true, because it is monetized. That is the name of the game. Money is something that drives an awful lot of these people and drives these companies. These people only ever see profits. That's the point of the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry holds massive sway in two countries in particular, in the USA and in New Zealand. Now, it comes as no surprise to see what went on in New Zealand, and you see the same sort of stuff starting to be pushed here. You've seen an angling from the pharmaceutical industry here in this country that they want to become more prevalent. They're trying to get more people on side. You see, this is a populace here in Ireland, and this is a population that before the last couple of years, most people, and I would say most people, weren't in each other's business about health or anything like that. It wasn't too big of a thing. People always complained about hospitals and them being overcrowded and understaffed. That was always a thing. But when it came to taking things and to suggesting things like that, it's a very minimal country when it comes to that beforehand. After the fact, people are talking about all sorts. And I'm talking about ridiculous things. And now people think that they have an innings into people's lives. And I'm not talking about just the sniffle stuff. I'm talking about stuff way before that. And then there's other people then that want to face up to the fact, like I keep saying, of how come autism, for example, has become more prevalent over the last 10 to 20 years. This is something that nobody my dad's age ever knew. This is something nobody my grandparents' age never knew. I didn't know anybody that was autistic. I'm sure these people existed. But now you're seeing it and you're talking to people and it's becoming commonplace and common practice. You're seeing the same as well when it comes to these cases of suddenlies and heart attacks. These things are becoming more prevalent and people are like, well. It's just like, hang on here, wrap your head around that there. You're saying, well, to perfectly young, healthy people collapsing and no longer being with us, but the sniffles there that you couldn't see and you saw no sort of issues around the people that you know, and you thought the cloth nappy there was going to keep you all right. What's the story? And again, people's brains have been broken and have been fried over the last few years, and that's why it's important to keep talking to people and saying to them, "Hey, look, this is not on." You've got a couple of different things here, and this guy here, for example, Sam Parker Senate, was talking about this woman here, Liz Churchill. So this is a person that has a huge following online, and he linked it down to this here. So, you know, it's just, as I keep saying to you, it's like the Daily Wire thing. The Daily Wire thing is, again, two sides of the same coin. They're playing one side, and the Daily Wire are playing the other. That's what it is. Shaneko, this is why Gab is excellent, by the way. You've got the WHO says Dr. Vanessa Kerry appointed as WHO Director General Special Envoy for Climate Change and Health. Dr. Vanessa Kerry appointed as WHO Director General. I'm after reading it again. The headline: the WHO has appointed John Kerry's daughter, Dr. Vanessa Kerry, as the Director General Special Envoy for Climate Change and Health. Another unelected Kerry deciding on your life and freedom. Climate change and health now inextricably linked. Pay attention. So, like I said, and I keep saying dynasties and people connections and stuff like that, you just got to look at who these people are connected to, who they're related to, who they're married to, and then you're like, oh, well, this is all just one big club, as Gerald Salente says, and you ain't in it. But what's happening is the club is continually being named, and people are continually pointing it out. They're like, hey, you're in that club. And that's going to be big problems for these people in the future, because like that, it should result in people saying, right, okay, tell you what, if we're running this country now, we're going to start looking at these people. We're going to start arresting these people. They're not going to be just hanging around doing nothing. Quick swig again. So there you go. That's just more proof of all the stuff that's going on. You've got Neon Revolt here that says it is, but now-anons can counter-signal all politicians and journos at will. The amount of speech is about to hit the libs is going to be monumental. Now, this is to do with the block feature. This is what these guys were talking about there. So it's going to be interesting in one way, and of course, then you probably will see a threatening of an exodus from Twitter. I don't think it's going to happen. They always say the same thing. I mean, there was Mark Hamill only recently was saying, "I'm actually going to leave Twitter. I'm going to boycott it for a day." Wasn't a runner. Nobody cared. They're like, Mark Hamill, who's he? We played Luke Skywalker like 30 years ago. Yeah, he played Luke Skywalker again. Yeah. What did he do? I destroyed his legacy there with those movies. Great. What else did he do? He did the voice of the Joker. All right. Well, if you actually listen to recordings of Tim Curry doing the Joker, it's very like what Mark Hamill ended up doing. I don't know why Tim Curry didn't stay on. Maybe the pay wasn't good. But he's exactly like what Tim Curry did. So I'm like, this guy has been touted as a genius, but he isn't. Anyway, we'll move on here. Dublin tourist dresses Bank of Ireland ATM to ensure Gardaí protect them. So that meme went flying around there fairly shortly after what went on. So if you're new to what's going on here, the Gardaí turned up to Bank of Ireland's links, pay links or check links or ATM links, holes in the walls, and we're telling people to go away. Now, who gave the Gardaí that order? Who told them to do that? And as such, then, are the banks telling the police what to do? And if they are, why are they doing it? Now, I know people out there that say, oh, well, that was to protect this, that, and the other. But here's the thing. The banks know how much you took. They know through the cards that you had to push into the machine to get the money out. They also know then through the receipt as well, too, because these things are all printed. So they're just going to catch up with these people sooner rather than later. Now, I've seen a number of videos as well, too, by the way, and it was one of those, is it them again, Yogi? It's always them, boo-boo. Seen one of those videos there where there's two people at the top of the queue arguing with each other about how much they're taking out and they want to have another round of it. Then there was another one then as well too where people are looking to skip the queue as well, telling people, no, you're not important, I'm important. And these people seem to hail from the same place that they over Edgar. It's interesting stuff, and I thought that now. So what do you think what went on with that ATM thing? I think personally it was probably a litmus test, really. I think it was a test to see how many people would go out and run out and do things like that. And they got a decent response. So they're probably like, well, this is what we can do here in the future. Those things, in my humble opinion, don't happen by accident. These things happen by design. When it's uncomfortable, when it's unpopular, when it's dangerous to speak the truth, it is the precise time that truth should be spoken. Until next time, friends, go out, He-Man, with an important message. How men are watching Barbie wrong. She also responded to a tweet that praised Gosling's role in the movie. We're at a stage where Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy might win an award for that. We're also at a stage where Ryan Gosling might win an award for it. People are like, he's the real protagonist of the movie. And then you got this here. No, Ken was supposed to be a joke and mockery of your gender and patriarchy. You watched this movie wrong. Yeah, man, there. I am Kenough. I haven't seen the movie. There's the MCU now in a nutshell. Dave Cullen, in fairness, has been tackling this for a while, but look at it there. You know, all the same stuff there. The woman's illuminated and she's above everybody else there. Great stuff there, guys. Nonsense. Remember when remembering this is gonna save your life. Oh one way. Kind of stuff. Germany's men's national football team. Germany women's national football team. That's a stark realization as to what's going on, isn't it? That's really, I'm starting to see the same thing here happening in Ireland. Look at this. Look at this nonsense on the arm there. It's not the first time that they've worn armbands like that, is it? Oh, anyway, we keep going. Women reveal they're dumping their boyfriends after watching Barbie. So this is the sort of message that this movie is sending. And it has a couple of idiots that are gone out to it. And I was seeing one there, she was like, brought the boyfriend to see Barbie. He seemed to identify with Ken a lot more. And I was like, that's hilarious, that is now. And she was like, I don't know what to do. It's like people breaking up over a movie. Now, I mean, look, people have differences. They do, it for sure happens and everything like that. But there's women that are going to these things. And I said something recently. And I said, people said, Barbie's after hitting $1 billion. And they were like, why do you think this is? I think our man Randall Wong or something like that was just like, we need more women movies with women directors. And someone said, how can this movie be earning so much? And I said, when you understand that the target audience is stupid, it all makes sense. Because the target audience for this is to do exactly what it's doing, is to cause trouble within households and for people to go out, particularly women, to go to these movies and gather together and buy consensus when they go to these things. Listen, you know what it's like. I don't know about you, but like, you'd go out now and again, you would with the lads and stuff like that and go and see a movie. Not a huge group of lads, but you'd go out with maybe one or two of the lads who wouldn't go and see a movie. And I mean, you'd chat about the movie afterwards, but it's not making a life-altering effect here or anything like that, because at the end of the day, it's just a movie. These people, on the other hand, go out to these movies and they get all sorts of notions then when they walk away from them, and you're like, this is part of the Matrix attack on people and on men and women, because it's making women absolutely scatty when it comes to these things. They have no clue what's going on. And again, it's like, my worth is worth me own. And it's just like, great, look at Margot Robbie. Is she married? Don't think so. I think she's hitting her 30s as well too. And you're going to see her now either do one of two things. She's going to find a man and she's going to marry him. She's going to settle down and have kids. Happy life. Or she's going to continue on, and in 10 years' time, you're going to hear her whinging about how she doesn't get roles anymore, how she's too old, and how she's bitter towards men. There's one or two ways this ends up. You look at, for example, there, Giselle that was going out with Tom Brady. You've got Tom Brady there, who is a multi-millionaire. And I'm talking about, this guy has ridiculous money. He's also a multi-winning member of NFL teams. I think, he got 2, 3, 4, 5 rings, I think maybe. I'm not sure how many Super Bowls he has. But anyway, he's won competitions. His wife decided to up and leave him. She was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. She's messing around with some fella that's a hockey player or something like that in like the 4th or 5th division. Some nobody. Tom Brady, on the other hand, has got like a top model on his arm. 25-year-old or something like that. He's like, yeah, not worried. Giselle, good luck to you. Because movies like these here, and again, the politics, are giving these people these types of notions. That, hey, look at what's going on here, guys. It's all good. No, it's not. Because in 10 years' time, and I'm going to say it today, I'll say it again. And this is something that I'll have to say, I relay from the Fresh and Fit podcast. Myron that's over there was just like, 10 years from now, these people that are Instagram models and these people, and this is what's happened to women, by the way, I absolutely salute any man that's out there now that's in the dating game, for example, and is dealing with these types of women, these narcissistic, egotistical women. It's got to be difficult. Because you've got people that are out there that, on the likes of Instagram, for example, are absolute nobodies, but have hundreds of thousands of followers they do, and are getting DM'd after DM after DM, and then they end up on the yacht they do, and they're on the yacht, and you're like, well, you don't own the yacht. Where's the deal? They're on the yacht. And then you're going, well, in 10 years' time, these people aren't going to be wifed up. They're going to have the 10 pictures that they have in the yacht there. Most fellas will really quickly realize what went on there and be like, I ain't going out with a 3 or 4, I'm not marrying that. And that's it. Game over. You're going to see those people hitting the wall now in 10 years' time. You're going to see Britney Spears levels of meltdowns. I'm telling you, that's exactly what happened with that chick, and that's exactly what you're going to see with the rest of these people. 100%. 1990, we just want to be left alone to love. Only bigots don't celebrate with us. 2012 and 2023, you've got the police that bow to me, and they're in the uniform. So there recently as well, I don't know whether you've seen it was in the UK there, where someone was there and they were in the police uniform, and someone remarked, "You look like me nan, who happens to like beaver," you know, and they arrested them. They were like, "We're nicking you." They're like, "What? You have actual criminality going on around the place, and you're more interested in the hurt feelings?" But that's what you got, lads. That's what you got. Routers, writers, whatever way you promote it, present it, say it, pronounce it. Phobia, little more acceptable again, says Vradgar. Well, you see, here's the thing. Nobody's afraid of you. Nobody's... what's this phobia stuff about there? Oh my God, you've doubtfire phobia. Nobody's scared of you. They're just disgusted. That's how it is. There's no phobia going on here from anybody. They're just disgusted. They're tired. They're over it. They're done. They don't want anything to do with this stuff anymore. So that is going to be the inevitable, where you've been hiding behind that sort of stuff yourself. And also then, when women then, for example, like they have been in politics, have been hiding behind the fact that they're women, it's over now. It's done. You see, you've drawn the lines and you've wiped the lines out many a times. You've shifted the goalposts so many times that people on this side of the fence are like, well, okay, if that's something that you want to talk about, let's just point the finger at Roderick O'Gorman and you. And what have you both got in common? And you're upending the place. That's right. What's Helen McEntee got in common there with someone else there that might be causing a bit of eruption here? What has Simon Harris got in common there with someone else? You know what I'm saying? And this is what people start to draw conclusions with. They go, hang on here. Should we be looking at a fella like this guy here, overseeing the population and overseeing the country going forward, if he has no kids himself? Now, interestingly, in the media, within the space of 24 hours, by the way, because this man loves the media attention, he was saying that himself and his partner are not going to be involved in the media too much anymore. They're going to keep things more private. Within 24 hours, he was talking about getting married to the dude and having kids. Now, I think, and I'm saying it now, that people like Vradgar and Roderick O'Gorman should not be allowed. They should be legally disallowed from having children. Absolutely unequivocally, I believe that. I do not think that these people should be allowed to have children. Not a chance. This is absolutely nonsensical. So this is where I suppose people would say, well, look, the advantage of science has been that, for example, and for the last 10, 20 years, I've been hearing about people on IVF, and I've been rattling in my brain, and I've been saying to myself, like, this is, for good people that are out there. The good people that I know that are out there that truly deserve it, that they've gone through certain things like that they have. And you might be a listener and you might be going through that yourself, or you've gone through it, and, congratulations. And you're one of the good ones. But what's starting to happen now is they're starting to open it up to people that shouldn't have anything like this at all. And you've seen it recently as well too. Paul Murphy was out there and was talking about it. And I was just like, well, nature intended there, for whatever reason you might take it. Nature intended something there, it did. And what you decided to do was you circumvented it. Now, I know that comes across and you say, well, there's people out there that are good people that have done that. I get you. I hear you on that one. But there are some nefarious people that are out there now that are interested in doing things like this. And this is sending alarm bells around the place. Now, this is part and parcel of the whole degeneracy of society. And it then takes the likes of the mother and father and them being important roles out, and it totally trivializing it. So when this guy is talking about phobias, people are now clapping back and they're like, we ain't going to take this from you anymore. You want to say people there that are nationalists and patriots need to be watching out for themselves? Well, I tell you what, an Indian person or a person of Indian heritage should not be running this country, nor should any other foreigner running into this place. Foreigners shouldn't be allowed to vote here in this country. That's currently what they're trying to do, by the way. They're actually saying that the likes of Ukrainians, for example, can vote in this country. That's absolutely absurd. It's absurd. And that's where we are. That's where we're at. We've got people that are now councillors that are in these political parties that have just rocked in here from somewhere else they have, and now they're running around as these things. This is absolute codswallop. And this fella's running around saying, well, it's a little bit more acceptable now, this sort of stuff there. You want to see the base 16-year-olds that are coming through, because I'm telling you, you're seeing them on the likes of social media now, and they don't give a fiddlers. They don't give a fiddlers. They're not filtering nothing, because they're all finished with this sort of stuff. They've no interest. And they know what's more powerful is no fear. When you've no fear, and this is what the government fear, is that the population has no fear to them, has no respect, and it has no fear, because that's something that they hinge on. They absolutely rely on that sort of stuff they do. So when they see a population of people coming through, particularly young people, I'm going to show you an article now in a few minutes. This panics them big time. Senator Maloney, give Helen McEntee an accountability holiday from street crime in Dublin for now. Why? Like, absolutely why? Like, this is the sort of stuff that you're seeing in the media, covering for these people. Instead, if the media were actually doing their job, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing on YouTube. So fair play to you, I've actually opened an avenue for me. Nice one. Because if you were doing your job, you'd be standing up there saying to these people, hang on here, why is that person still running around as Justice Minister and the place is absolutely upside down? Why is that person allowed to continue on in the job and completely fold and absolutely flop in that job and you're continuing it on? Why are you voting for outrageous measures that nobody agrees with? Oh, we give her an accountability holiday. No. Why is that? Is it because she's a woman? Well, that's actually then misandrist, isn't it? Because if it was a man in there causing uproar, I'm sure you'd be out there calling for all sorts. You probably wouldn't in the media. You'd probably be just giving them some sort of other pass then as well. Oh my God, that person's autistic. Oh my God, that person's black. Oh my God, that person's Indian. Oh my God, that person likes to hang around with his wife's boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? These are the types of things that this media will run around and cover up. They go, they have some sort of issue there. You know, we should give them a bit of time. No. In what other job would this be seen as acceptable? None. But these people, and like I said there, these administrators, this is what these people are. These people that are being called scroungers now, this is the politician class now are being called scroungers online because people are realising that these people seem to be ugly actors. They ain't like Hollywood, good-looking people that are over there. And now they're starting to make Hollywood look ugly. I mean, I was watching a movie not too long ago there that was from the 90s. And I mean, they had the most beautiful looking women in the movies. And you're like, you never ever seen anyone like that again. You don't see anyone like that recently. They're all pigs that are running around these things. And similarly as well too in politics, you have nothing but pigs, wall-to-wall pig running around. And you're like, well, what's the story here? Now I know what the game will be in the next 5 to 10 years. They start trying to find someone that's good looking to be like, oh, we need to sway the lads a little bit here. Still not going to work. Still not going to work. So anyway, you've got this here now where they're telling you, hey guys, you need to just lay off. No is the answer to that one. No is 100% the answer to that one. Big shout out to Satirical Soldier, by the way, for these images. He's the one that put these up here. So you've got Helen McEntee that posted this out. And our activity across Dublin last week led to an average of 84 arrests a day, 815 searches. Look at these two dorks on the bikes. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's something that my mother and father told me about when they were growing up. You know, they seen Gardaí that went around in cars and they seen them on motorbikes. And, you know, there's a bit of authority to someone that's driving a car and a motorbike because, as you know, it's a motorly propelled vehicle. It's something that's fast. It's something that's very dangerous, obviously, as well, if you're doing anything else, we will say. And you see these fellas on the bicycles. Now, I would be very interested into knowing what sort of fitness rate is amongst these people. And as you know, when you then decide to swap the gender then to people then that are on bikes, it's not going to be a fantastic fitness rate either. Going back on this, I think it's absolutely laughable that Gardaí have been made to cycle around places. Now, people would say, well, the reason why they're being given bicycles is so they can get down alleyways and lanes and all these places where people decide to go away from them and that. Sure, okay, great. Well, you're saying the lads flying around the electric scooters and electric bikes nowadays, well, they're not going to be catching up to them because those things go pretty quickly. So you'll start seeing them trying, and they're already trying. Well, we're bringing on legislation about those. Yeah, okay. But look at the numbers here, and this is something the Satirical Soldier highlighted, and this is something I love. I love the fact that this is starting to be a common trend amongst people now. They're starting to talk about numbers. 49,000 views, because what did Goofball Helen up here say? Good to see from Garda info across Dublin, including more arrests as well as high visibility patrols to significant drug seizures. Listen to me when I say this to you, right? I was in town recently. Didn't see one police person. And people would be like, oh my God, Ninja Knight, you're saying things there that are very gender neutral. Yeah, I didn't see a police person, okay? Didn't see a policeman. Didn't see a vanguard, because that's what we should be calling them anyway. Didn't see anyone in the whole of town. South side, north side, not one. Isn't that crazy? Oh, there's a big presence. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. He's got the photo up. The two dorks on the bicycles here got the photo ups. They did, and then they went off, and then they sat back in the station, more than likely. Allegedly expected. The extra 10 million provided by government support increased high visibility policing, in addition to our new Guardian on the beat in the capital. Like I said, in town recently, didn't see anybody. Nobody. I'm not even making it up. Like, I would tell you if I did. I'd be like, well, you know, I saw 2 or 3 people. I don't think it's I don't think it's good. I think I'd rather see more than that. But I'm telling you, not one soul did I see in a uniform running around town. That's crazy. And you're telling me that 10 million has been just spluttered that way? It's a waste. An absolute waste. That's a waste of money that's been, and again, financially, fiscally responsible. These politicians haven't been financially and fiscally responsible for things like this. 10 million. What's the 10 million going towards? Like, what's the breakdown in that? Has it been given to the likes of NGOs? Has it been given to the likes of social carers? That's another spoof, by the way. I did a degree in social care. Great stuff. You're going to be replacing the police, are you? Lovely jubbly. Well, what are you going to do? I'm going to go out and tell people that they shouldn't commit crime. Fantastic. Let's see how that works out for you. It's not working out too well in America. They're starting to scrap it, by the way. 49,000 views, 78 likes, 306 comments. Ratioed again. This is the sitting Justice Minister, by the way. This is sitting TD. Online. Done. Numbers. Out. 50,000 views nearly. And it's only after getting 78 likes. You see, this is what's breaking through with people now. And fair play to Satirical Soldier for highlighting this. This is what's breaking through with people now. People are going, hang on here. These people aren't liked at all. Satirical Soldier's tweets, I'm sure, will probably get more than 78 likes. You know what I mean? He should run for office somewhere as well too. I know he's retired and everything like that, but Dale, you should be running. You should be running wherever you are. I'm telling you, and take a seat from these people. It'd be some laughing at all. So let's keep going now. And let's see the next story of what we got here. Let's see if Gab is still working. You can see the thing is slowing down. Just give me a sec. I think the sound's all good anyway, from what I can see. I hope it is anyway. People are saying the fourth view allegedly expectedly there on Friday night. Yeah, it's always good stuff, isn't it? Let's go to the next one. So the slides, sometimes they're a little bit slow. Let's see what we have next. Yeah, I said shout out to Satirical Soldier for these images. I'm sure Satirical Soldier's on, Gab. If he's not, he should be. Okay, well, I'm going to show you that. That jumped ahead a couple of months there. The Irish Times. This is what I was talking to you about earlier on. I'm worried about my 16-year-old son and his abhorrent right-wing views. Oi, oi, oi. I love this. I love to see these type of articles. This just means that you're winning. And this is what I'm talking to you about, the new generation that are coming out behind us. The ones that are coming out behind us, they are not taking any of this stuff at all. Now, is this article a real article? Is it an article from a genuine person? I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no clue. But this was a quote in the article here. We do everything we possibly can to raise our children to be as rounded as they can possibly be. We are also hopeful that they will be free thinkers. So this is interesting as well. They can be a free thinker, but if you don't think the way that I do, well, then you can't be a free thinker. This is what these people do. If you don't conform to the leftist way of looking at things, this is not right. Well, then you're not raising a free thinker, then you're telling people what to think then, and that's totally against what you're saying. But I do not know if we can tolerate this mindset and the risk that it poses to our other children. I tell you what, if the lad turned around and said, hey, listen, look, my name is John, but I'm called Jane now, I'd say I'd probably have a different opinion. You'd be writing into this paper going, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's great. You know what I'm saying? This is the way these people go on. But this is a good signal to be shown to people. It's just like, hey, you're getting through. And not only are you getting through, you're also then showing then, this guy might have influence then. And of course he's going to have influence because the siblings, I'm sure, will look and say, we can see exactly the same thing that you're saying. Of course, not all siblings are going to agree, and some people have different views. And again, I have friends as well too, by the way, that have different views. And some, for example, cowered and fell over and said, yeah, no problem, I'll take the juice as I can go to the pub. And I'll never think of that person the same way ever again. I'll be like, well, you were very cowardly and you just went to do that so you could just go to the pub to pay extortionate amounts of money for a pint. I never understand that. And since then, that's just how I feel. Still my friend. You know what I mean? But I realise what's what as well too. And when you look at these things, when they say to you, hey, these people now are looking at you and they're saying 16-year-olds are right-wing and they have views there. What's abhorrent about it though? What's abhorrent about it? What's abhorrent about the country being safe? And again, he's looking out then, and this is why I'm reading between the lines here. Again, if this is a real article, of course, when I say real article, if this is a person that's actually written in here, they're probably like, well, we want to be perceived one way. And see, this is the thing, and this is why I say about social cues and also then social consensus. People in particular, for example, I assume that this is a mother that's written this in here, is very aware of the social impact insofar as that if they have a woke lefty Egypt of a mate that comes over and the young flit is saying, here, you're banging over when it comes to these things, the mother then is going, oh no, because that person is going to be chatted back to, and that is something that these people don't want to be happening. They want you to be just living in the one world. For example, when you were talking to people and a conversation is absolute nonsense it is, and you either decide to play along with the conversation and live in the world and the lack of reality that these people are living in, or you decide to say, well, I'm going to go full on out and I'm going to tell the truth here. That's what I like to do. I like to do the latter I do, because I'm like, well, this conversation might be boring. I'm not placating this idiot here. I'm not placating the stupid conversation. I'm going to tell you what I think here. And 9 times out of 10, you'd be actually surprised a lot of people are interested in that, because it's a different talking point, and it's also something that is totally the opposite of what they're used to. People are used to being reaffirmed there and told that what they're saying is absolutely 100% correct, and it is what the group think. So it's a good thing that you're saying things like this, I would say. You're also saying this, which isn't a good thing. So again, she's concerned there about the 16-year-old boy. I'd be concerned about what's going on here. Well, what you've got here obviously is a number of individuals that are deciding to bring this flag along and stand outside a Garda station. This again is down to Satirical Soldier posting a South Fair Play to him. So what am I seeing from this image? Okay, of course here you're seeing half an image of goofballs, of course, as usual. But what you're seeing here on this right-hand side here is the Gardaí. Now, I don't know about you, but you know what the first thing is that I picked up from this image was this. I picked up this guy, right? Now, you were going to say to me, Ninja Knight, why did you do that? I picked up this fella first and foremost because he's standing there, he is, in a position that is putting the hands behind the back. So he's like looking there going, oh, he looks to me like a fella that doesn't want to be there. There ain't a smile on the face. The face is a bit, stern, as I would say. You're also seeing these other three here, goofies, that are smiling. Now, this fella here, the way he's standing, and I don't know about you, but certainly fellas have a radar. They do. They have a specific type of radar, is what I'd say. But this goofy here now comes across now a little bit, in a certain way. That's all I'd say. And of course, what you have here is the two unattractive women that are very happy, the two very small, diminutive women, of course, that are standing here, and they're happy to stand along with this nonsense here with these guys over here. A picture paints 1,000 words, as they will say. And, this guy to me, this guy to me here is the outlier. He is the outlier amongst this photo here. He is the only one. Maybe this guy here, he looks like, oh, you're taking a picture, aren't you? What's going on there, guys? He seems to be the outlier amongst all of these people. And I think that is something that's very interesting. Now, what is interesting is if he indeed is the outlier, I'm not pointing out this fella in particular, and I mean, I'm telling people as well too, obviously, he might agree or he might disagree with these things. All I'm saying is that more people that are in this organization that disagree with this, they need to find each other, they need to talk to each other. You know that you're going to start moving towards being friendly with each other. You know that you're going to find your people eventually. You are. These are these people on this side. This is all them. That just makes sense to me. That the way the guy is standing, the way he looks in this photo. Now, he might have been beaming with a smile just beforehand or just after. He might have just taken the photo as it was. But that says to me that there's at least one person here that's like, this is not great at all. I'm out here for a photo op. I don't really want to be here. This is nonsense. That's just how it looks to me. But goofballs are us here now across here. And it makes, again, if I'm looking into it the way I am, and I don't know whether it is or it's not, I'm just giving me opinion here. This guy obviously looks more physically fit and capable than the three people here. This is what I'm telling you about a side guy. Look at these ditties that are going on here. And I'm not talking about the two on the right-hand side here. I'm talking about this fella here. This fella doesn't look like he's in too great of a shape now. You know what I mean? This fella does look like he's in good shape. You know what I'm saying? So isn't it interesting how these hallmarks that we keep pointing out amongst people seem to be the same thing that you see every single time? And you see the women there, again, you're not getting more than a two here. You're definitely not getting more than a two either, And every single time. Every single time. This is something else that was shared by Satirical Soldier, so I'm just going to sort of briefly go through this one because, to be honest with you, this completely infuriates me. It does, and to no ends. Breaking Ireland on course for over 10,000 it is in 2023. HSE data suggests the prospect of murder. Just go with that. Reaching over 10,000 is an indictment of Ireland's policy, says Mulroy. A HSE reply to a parliamentary question from Carol Nolan TD has revealed that over 1 million has been spent on combined procedure and after murder, meaning the performance of, again, I used the word that I used earlier on there, from June to January 2023, as €300 was paid by the HSE's primary care reimbursement scheme for this category of, again, I use the word again, it can be estimated that 5,052 of these have already been carried out in the first 6 months of 2023. You know, sometimes when I say to you, and I'd say to you about satirical sourdough and other people that are on the side of the fence, and why you might come across the way we do, and why you might come across angry, this is why. Because when you read these things and you see these people, like the likes of these people that are standing there with smirks on their faces there outside the guard station, these people and this way of thinking is intrinsically linked to one side. And this is why I keep saying to you that these people aggravate people like me to no end, because they're running around promoting this sort of stuff and talking about it as if it's nothing. This is absolutely one of the most abhorrent articles that I've ever read, I should say. Not written, read. This is one of the worst articles that I've ever seen. This just, it lights a fire in anybody with common sense and anybody with a heart and anybody with any sort of idea that has a clue where this is going. Now, what are they doing? Like, what are they utilizing this for? First and foremost, money is changing hands. This is a lucrative business for these people. It is lucrative for, as you can see here, these businesses, organizations, and then you've also then got the other side of it then, which is what are they doing with what's left? And there's lots of suggestions that have been made out there. Lots of things that people have said over the years of where these things are going. And again, I'm talking about this, like I keep saying to you, and I talked about the billboard analogy and joke that he made about having a cake in the oven, and after 30 minutes of the cake being in the oven, someone coming along and throwing the cake out of the oven all over the floor and being like, well, it wasn't the cake. He's like, everybody knows that was a cake. So this thinking of, oh no, that's not a person, is wrong. You're absolutely wrong. But shame on every single individual that's carrying these things out. Absolutely 100%. And I'm telling you now, God will be your judge. And that's the way I look at it. And people that say, I don't mind, because this is the type of thing that they've done. They've promoted godlessness, and people saying, oh no, materialistic life there now. I'm going off to Ibiza and I'm buying the Gucci and Louis Vuitton bags with the girls. And fellas are culpable in this too, by the way. Women carry an awful lot of the blame for this. They carry a significant portion of blame for this because of the lifestyles that they've been chosen, that has been gifted to them and that has been promoted to them by generations before them, because they're culpable too. But the men are culpable too for not being strong enough to be saying anything when it comes to this here. There's dudes that are out there that are in relationships with people there where the woman's made this decision and the dude didn't really want it, and they're still carrying on. How? Responding to this revelation, pro-life campaign spokesperson Eilish Mulroy said, the indication from the HSC that between January and June this year, we have already seen 5,052. You see, you need to change the words. You need to call it what it is. It's murder. They're starting to do it in the United States of America. They're starting to ban this now. They're starting to criminalize people for this. And rightfully so. Because when they go, oh, well, you know, are you saying what about a person that's attacked or anything like that? The instances with which that happens are nearly zero. They've done all these studies and they've done all these data-driven analytics when it comes to these things. And you keep saying these type of things to use this as a get out of jail argument. This is what they keep doing. What about the 99% of the rest of the people that have no issue? And then you see, and someone that I feel absolutely 100% for, and I seen a video recently, and break a heart it would. You see a chap standing up there, and he's Down syndrome he has, and he's talking at a conference, and he's saying, I'm the type of person that these people are actively talking about wanting to know more of. Break a heart it would. And a very articulate man, which is great to see, and he's stepping up and being counted. And that's what I'm talking to you about, communities stepping up and being counted. I'm telling you now, when you go into these waiting rooms and you see people in these waiting rooms, they ain't people that have just arrived off the boat from somewhere else They certainly are the people there that follow a religion, a very peaceful religion, as you know. They're not hanging around these types of rooms. Carried out this is truly shocking. Call it what it is. You need to start calling it what it is rather than dancing around it and saying, oh, using their terminology. Gives them an out. Last year, the number of these things carried out in the first 6 months was roughly the same as the amount carried out in the final 6 months. It's absolutely shocking. And you've got, like I said there, you've got payments linked in with this here now as well too, which is another thing. It's absolutely despicable. It is. It's honestly, this really aggravates me. It does to no end. It really does. Honestly, to have to cool down sometimes and then thinking and talking about it, I have to. You got to keep logical. You got to keep this sort of stuff under control. But that's in you as a man, and it's in you as a woman. It should be in you as a woman. You see, this stuff has been promoted to women so much. It's been promoted to them. It's just a weekend. Get over it. Go on out there with your life and stuff like that, and carry on and everything. Unbelievable stuff. Let's keep going. RTE News. This is something I mentioned in the video as well. When it comes to, I tell you what, this gang wouldn't have this sort of stuff. I'm telling you that now. This gang, I'm telling you, they wouldn't have anything like this. They wouldn't. You might think of what else they do and think they go up to other sorts of shenanigans, but they're giving people a chance to hear. Anyway, cool ninja. Anyway, you're looking at this here, and you're seeing RTE post this out. Now, this is a country that you haven't heard much of recently, sure it's not. And now the media are back out and they're like, we don't really like what these guys are doing over there. Well, what are they doing? What are they doing? It is 2 years since the Taliban took over Afghanistan in the wake of the chaotic withdrawal of US troops. Yeah, America, by the way, lost that. I just want to point that out there. They went over there to cause ructions. They did. They planted seeds for H that's over there, by the way. And that's now starting to be exported from that country. It's almost like they went there for a very specific reason. And they were then unable to secure the place over the years. And then as soon as they walked out the door, the boyos here took over the place. That seems like a failed operation in America. Does that not what it seems like to me? It seems like that to you, no? Does it not? No. Since then, the extremist group has unleashed an unyielding assault on human rights, particularly those of women and girls. Isn't that ironic when RTA are coming out and saying something like that? Isn't it the cower behind your front door because of the sniffles? They're telling you not to go out and see your grandmother or your grandfather. They're telling you that you're not to go and see a loved one when they were on their way out. Telling you that you only needed 6 people to a funeral. This company disgusts me. How dare they turn around and talk about people in another country like this when they themselves are guilty of stuff like this? Talking about assaults on human rights. Oh, particularly those of women and girls. You couldn't give a fiddler's. If you did, you would be speaking up about what I just talked about 10 seconds ago. Instead, you're going, oh, well, you should have a safe space to walk into these clinics and not be, talking to people that are trying to persuade you another way or praying for you or anything like that. This is what these people do. The international community has proved powerless to halt it. It does because, you know what, the Yanks went into the country and they were bounced out of it. That's what happened. They were bounced out of it because they couldn't take the country. They couldn't from the people. The people decided they were going to fight back. And no matter how many times the likes of Hollywood likes to promote these things, it is something that they do. Oh my God, look at the movie that we've done, The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal. You all like him, don't you? He's a nice actor, isn't he? By and large, lads, you have to realise what went on there. People invaded the country and decided to mess about in that country. And what are you going to do if you live in the country and people just decided to invade it? You're going to do something about it. And that's what they did in their country. And then the Americans they wanted to frame it as if your man's like Cobra Commander in a cave. Oh yeah, no, he set it all up there. A fella in a cave in the middle of nowhere, and he couldn't find him. And when he did, then he said, he was gone. And we didn't take any photographs or anything like that. Suspect. Totally suspect. So that was 20 years worth of something and countless lives for nothing. And you then had a withdrawal that was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to your country. You were slapped out of the place you were. And then you went through media looking at your president, looking at his watch. A fella that going around sniffing all sorts. And when I'm talking about all sorts, I'm talking about he likes the old coal miners, you know what I'm saying? Looking at his watch there. And you're all sitting there looking at it. Telling you, man, foxes guarding the hen house, that's what's going on there. And these people don't realise it. Hoorah! Yeah, right. Have a look at what actually happened. You invaded another country on the behest of people in suits there, north of Richmond. Brave, weren't you? And you see the British as well too at the same sort of stuff. Now, in fairness, there's 1 or 2 people that were in the SAS as well too that come back and say, I was wrong. Shouldn't have done that. I'm there and I'm being told to do these things by a fan in the suit back there, and he's out there been doing all sorts of my human rights and the people of Britain then. That's what these people that are former SAS soldiers do say. And it's very interesting. But you're starting to see Americans now starting to get around to the same sort of way of thinking. You're getting Jocko Willink is sort of turning a corner. He's looking and going, that was a waste of time going over there. I risked my life and I could not have come back. And now I'm looking at what's going on in my country. But you need to speak out. That's what needs to be happening. The absolute hypocrisy from this organisation to come out and speak about these things, it's absolutely unbelievable. It is. It's unfathomable. It is. And yet you're still doing it. But this gang took over the place. Did, oh, we're concerned about girls not being able to go to school. Are you really? Are you really? Well, the boys told you a year ago. What was it? Maybe even less than that then, when BBC did an interview with the lads that were running the show. We would have any female politicians. The lads laughed at them and said, turn off the camera. Go away with that. Stop there. Shut up. Stop the lights. You're talking nonsense. And you think that those fellas that are looking at what's going on, because these people all possess smartphones, they possess technology, they ain't looking out here at what's going on in the Western world and going, we'll have a bit of that, lads. They ain't looking out the likes of the video from Mary Lou McDonald going, do you know what, lads, I think we need a bit more like Mary Lou. What's Mary Lou's brother up to these days? He's Doubtfire. Wow. I tell you what, lads, Afghanistan definitely needs more out there, definitely needs more women. These fellas are ahead of the curve. They're looking at it and they're like, what's going on in the Western world? Well, I'll tell you what's going on in the Western world. They're sending these people to college and it's causing problems. It's causing the likes of marriage rates to go down. It's plummeting. It's causing the likes of their own population then to not procreate because people are looking at their jobs and saying, I'm a career woman. They're getting to 34 then and starting to panic. You're considered a geriatric there at 35. And then panic sets in. And then at that stage of the game, then most men, when they're looking at you, they're going, no, not for me. You know what I'm saying? These fellas are aware of this. This is why when you see Muslim people, and I know Muslim people, they have families young. And there's no messing. Now, you might agree or you might disagree, and look, it's a religion that I'm not a personal fan of, and it's not something I would join. I'm just speaking from my own perspective. But I do have friends that are in the religion, and I'm saying, well, look, it's up to you. But I'll tell you, they're dealing with things completely different than the way we are. You got Khabib Nurmagomedov. You don't hear about his wife. You don't hear nothing about his wife. Nothing. And he's there doing a talk there with PBD last week. He goes, I come to America. They have no bathrooms for men. No bathrooms for women. They have gender specific. And he's looking and going, where's the men? Where's the women? You're like, yes, he gets it. He understands what's going on. And they ain't having that sort of stuff in that culture. As I keep saying to you, and I keep saying it again and again and again, whilst I don't want my country overrun with people, you are starting to go, and you will see it. You're seeing the likes of Galway City having the main name of a boy be Muhammad. Well, they ain't going to tolerate this sort of stuff very much longer. So the popcorn is going to be at the ready, and you're going to be like, well, you know, you're going to start calling them people far right now, and that's going to be interesting to see what way that goes, because that's not going to work out for you. Also, I got this here now. I'll keep showing you some of the memes that we have. And again, I'll show you some of the articles as we're going along here. Totally enjoying this here now. I'm totally enjoying this tonight. And thanks for joining me here tonight. They then said it escaped a lab, but it can be stopped with a homemade cheetah print mask. The schniffles. The most powerful governments in the world can't solve homelessness, but they can change the earth temperature if you pay more taxes. You see about this journalist, I seen a fella there during the week, is it Bielenberg was out there, he was posting something, I think I have it down below there, it was posting out nonsense, and I was just like, what's the early life of this guy? Is there a Wikipedia page on this guy? You see about this journalist, surname ends with Berg. Now let's just see his early life section just to double check. I did it all the time. You see people with Stein, and you see people with was it Wits as well too, I think is another name. I'm just like, look into that, and then I'm like, there you go. You've got the new Superman, for example, Corin Sweat. Have a look into him, his early life, and I'm like, all right. And then I was surprised when they bounced Gal Gadot. I was like, oh, that was maybe because she spoke out of turn too quickly. But I would say, and I wouldn't be shocked if you've seen the Trinity there of Batman and Wonder Woman sharing the same fate of Corin Sweat there. And you know, for example, that they're going to make it all about that in that movie, in that Superman Legacy, that's directed and written by James Gunn. He was allegedly, you know, a Greedo. Thousands of tweets about kids and stuff like that, you know, but don't worry about that, guys. Allegedly a visitor of a certain island too as well. Don't be worrying about that, guys. Also as well too, had a themed party of, you know, offenders and stuff like that. But don't be worried about that, guys. Nah, he just walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, but he's totally not a duck. You know yourself. Anyway, anytime you see these type of articles, I just look at the name and I'm like, well, who is writing this? And then you go, oh. And again, two sides of the same coin all the time. This is the Irish Daily Mirror, and they actually put this article out. This is no joke. People are starting to notice, that's why. Dubliners flummoxed as mystery plane flies in strange loops for hours at night. Now, under the guise of nighttime, of course they're able to do these type of things because it's becoming very apparent during the day. And what is happening in the daytime is people are recording this and they are taking pictures. So of course they've had to change the game up and they have to say, okay, guys, we need to do something else. But these planes are flying in from England, from the UK, from what people can see on the flight logs. Flight logs for these things, by the way, are... I've seen people post these up online and I'm like, how are they able to do that? But they're able to get it. I don't know how they're able to do it. I think it's something to do with the timings of the plane coming over, something like that. They're able to figure it out. I don't know, Rain Man type stuff here that's going on, really. It's beyond me. But the Irish Daily Mirror, and as such, the media are trying to get ahead of it now, and they're like, oh, because what's also happening in the meantime, and this is how I just connect things now, again, it could be totally off here, it could be wrong, but you're starting to see them talk about having less flights during the nighttime. Have you seen that recently in articles there? Yeah, man O'Leary saying that he's complaining about it, saying, oh, well, then we can't have flights in and out. And then they're talking about the climate and stuff like that then in the same time. And like, well, there's something going on there. And this article just sort of pushes it out there. Now, the comments that were underneath that, yours truly true, now commenting underneath about the cloud seeding. So this is going on during the night. And then what happens is then the climate is becoming colder. And that's due to something that they actually want to do. Have I got it here? I don't know if I have it here. Yeah, this is the one here. So what they're looking to do is with this cloud seeding thing is they're looking to prevent, and it's weather related stuff. And you don't believe me when it comes to these things. They've actually recently said, I think it was Mexico was going through a drought and they were like, yeah, we're going to cloud seed over here. Now, nobody knows what these chemicals are going to do over a long time. Now, think about that for a second as well, too. They are putting chemicals into the air, which then has been made into clouds, which is then made into rain, and then it is dropped then upon everything. So you on prospective crops and stuff like that, and in the ground then, which animals are going to then ingest then as well. Now, with the likes of cows, for example, because that's a big problem for them, cows is something that they focus in on because cows, I think, if I'm mistaken here, someone correct me, please, have 7 stomachs. So they're able to filter this stuff through and more than likely able to get an awful lot of it out. That's why you'll see the push towards other animals, by the way, where it's a little bit easier for them. And now they're saying, oh, we can give you lab-grown meat instead. Who's funding that? Bill? Yeah, no thanks there. Good with that. But this is because people have noticed what's going on. Now, this is an entirely weird thing to do. Some people would say, well, that's probably someone just going out and having a good time and just flying around there, just taking the scenery and all that during nighttime. Why would they be doing that? That's weird, isn't it? Because that just increased the amount of times and possibility of them having a crash. Why would they do that? There's no scenery for them to view. They're also flying around in circles there as well too, basically. And what sort of effect does that have? Well, that has an effect in that all of these areas, as you can see here now, Dublin, and I don't know for the large majority of Ireland, I'm sure Ireland has been the same, has been under basically rain for the last 2 months. It's been relentless, to be quite honest with you. I think we've had like one good day this week. That's unheard of. It's still quite humid there, so you can still feel that the heat is trying to get through, but it's not. So this is detrimental, of course, then, because then you have people then that would have been planning. And here's where I go with these things, because you might say, well, that's thinking into it too much, Ninja. I saw many a person online saying the summer's going to be lit. Can't wait for all the protests. Can't wait for all this, that, and the other. What's the deterrent for a lot of people? Rain. People don't want to be out in the rain. They don't want to be hanging around the rain. So, I don't know about you, but I certainly think things like that. Do I think these people are that petty? I do. When I'm talking about the likes of government and media, absolutely I do. They're super petty. You've seen that already. The snide sort of responses that they give to the likes of Ben Scanlon and to people in general when they're asking the questions, they're that petty. Because they're not worried about going out in the rain or anything like that. They're not worried. They couldn't give a fiddlers. Couldn't care. They're eating well. They don't care. So when you see this sort of stuff here, where's the climate change, NGOs not that calling into what's going on here? There was nothing for them saying, hang on here, halt these types of flights here now. That's not needed. Because is that not the first thing that they should do? Because if you're traveling from the likes of Sandymount over to the likes of the Canaries for a week or 2 weeks there, these same NGOs and these people here in the government and the likes of the Green Party are telling you that you're a climatologist and all this sort of stuff and you're an istophobe with the climate and everything. This is what they're doing. But goofballs like this that are flying in and around like this, no, don't worry about that, lads. Now, we're not going to call for a halt to this stuff here. But this is the next thing people should be peppering the likes of TDs with. Here, what's the story of this here? Get rid of this here. We don't want people spraying things into the air here over this country. And take videos of it and pictures of it, because I know a lot of people doing these. They've taken pictures of the X's and the O's that are going on in the sky during the day. But I think what's happening is now you're seeing a tactic be changed because they're going, too many people are realising this. They're able to put up on social media and we need to change it up here, lads. Because how do I know that this stuff is true? Well, this is how. Because this is coming from CNBC. Now, again, you might say, well, this is an unreliable source. Well, they're peddling out the information from these people from the horse's mouth. So this is from 2022, October. White House is pushing ahead research to cool Earth by reflecting back sunlight. The White House Office of Science and Technology Policy is coordinating a 5-year research plan to study ways of modifying the amount of sunlight that reaches the Earth in order to temporarily temper the effects of global warming. So do you remember global warming was a thing? They were telling you that the polar ice caps are going to melt and the polar bears are going to be no more. You didn't hear about that anymore. It was like they were wrong on that, wasn't it? Oh, guess what they were? Greta Thunberg as well too had a tweet in 2018 that said in 5 years here everything's going to be over. That came and passed. She was wrong on that one too. There are several kinds of sunlight reflection technology being considered, including stratospheric aerosol injection, marine cloud brightening, and cirrus cloud tinning. Stratospheric aerosol injection involves spraying an aerosol like sulfur dioxide into the air. Now, that's what you see coming out from the planes. So this is the White House, by the way, that have said this. So I'm not just talking out of my other one. You know what I'm saying? This is not just a joke. And I'm saying, no, there's nothing to that now. I'm actually pulling up the receipts there of a year ago when these people said these things. And they're going ahead with it. And then don't forget as well about what happened in Turkey. Who were the ambassadors that were taken out 24 hours before that happened? Look at the countries that they're from. You know what I'm saying? So these people possess things that you haven't even fathomed quite yet. Stuff that's considered science fiction. And these people possess these things. So this is nothing to them. They've just changed tactics. Look at the lines. There you go. Look. They've actually unwittingly, or maybe they have maybe purposely drawn them in here and they're like, look, this is the sort of stuff that you're saying. Look at it. They're the type of lines that you see in the sky, by the way. And then it's like, this thing's flying around here. How about the climate guys there start stopping this sort of stuff? How about that? You know? Don't feel safe in my own neighborhood. You literally voted for this. You know, that's what I tell people as well too when they're like, things are going wrong. Who'd you vote for? I voted for this, that, and the other. Okay, you didn't vote for any nationalists, did you not? No? All right, well then that's your fault then, isn't it? Quick response. Multi-billion-dollar real estate companies watching Maui. I mean, what's interesting about there is they've come in there fairly quick, and after years, I think Jimmy Dore, the outboy was saying, Jimmy Dore was saying like that these companies were trying to buy the area for years, and then it was like flat out now, and then this thing happens. And you're like, well, that's not just by accident. We all know that now. That's how much these places and companies don't care. They just don't care. They're brazenly doing these things in front of people's faces. Like I said there earlier on, Kevin Samuels, 1.42 million subscribers. Something bogey went on there, I think, and forgotten about within a week. You know what I mean? And they're doing this. The likes of Yellowstone. That's why Yellowstone's been an important show, because it's eye-opening. It's eye-opening for people when they look at it and they go, look at this. This is just corporatization and complexes and all that, just trying to move and maneuver their way into this by any means necessary to try and take land off people, to try and take their livelihoods off them. And you're looking at them just like, we'll just play the waiting game. That's what they do. Great meme. Incapable of imagining a fictional character, everything has to literally be them, or they cannot understand it. So this is the woman who was the lead design on the new April O'Neil. Seeing a correlation here. You're seeing the correlation between these two, and you're seeing the correlation between what these people up here, this Mindy Kaling character decided to make Velma Indian. You see this one here, I am not Starfire. This is ordered in the comic as well too. So the left are unable to create anything. It's like, the orcs there in Lord of the Rings. They're just only able to destroy things. So that's something that we've become very accustomed to. These people can't create anything. And then they're like, oh my God, you're an Istaphobe because you don't like our stuff. What? There's another quote on Kevin Samuels. I watched all the stuff there. I like Andrew Tate. I'm watching all of his stuff. Eric July, buying his comic, supporting him. If he comes out with a line of action figures, I'm sure I'll be supporting that too. And it's not just those guys. These are other guys that are out there that run around like Ethan Van Sciver that's doing good things for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Ethan Van Sciver put out a banger of a video during the week, and I suppose you might say it as it is. He put out a video that he was like, I'm going to the hospital, I don't feel well, chest pains and stuff like that. He literally did a stream that's like titled, I'm okay. And within the first 5 minutes, I said, fair play to him, because he's the first person that I've seen that's gone on and is like, I was stupid enough to take that Voldemort I was, and I was wondering if it was that. And I was just like, he's seen it, you know, and like, that's awesome. Anyway, let's keep going. Today we want to know, do you plan to renew your TV license? Now, the urinal here, excuse me, I apologise, the journal always give out this sort of stuff here. Now, I cannot stand when they do this. It is actually so irritating. Just put a yes or no. Stop the messing. I don't know isn't an answer. That's a stupid thing to put out there. But they're intending for people to be out there to go, I don't really know if I'm going to do that or not. It's either a yes or a no. They're intending on doing it or they're intending on not doing it. That's why I put the poll up, and I was just like, 300 votes in within about an hour it was there, and 98% were saying no. So I think that is more reflective, because this I don't know stuff is akin to someone just going out and either A, spoiling a vote, or just deciding to just scribble all over at 1 to 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's absolute codswallop. I don't know. I don't know isn't an answer. How could you look at this question? And I'm just speaking to the people that said, I don't know on this. How could you legitimately look at this question here and go, I don't know? What sort of brain do you possess? It's not firing above a 50 IQ, I can tell you that. So anyway, what happened was poll results then ended up 54% said no. Good luck to you. With 7,788 votes. And these are just the people, by the way, that have some sort of interest in the journal. And like I said, their numbers are dwindling in terms of likes and comments. So people actually decided to jump in on this. I think if people were actually aware of this, maybe more would have voted on it. But yes, so nearly half voted yes. But to me, what's most important is that you've got so many people that even on their turf said no, good luck to you. And what are the media doing? The media are working in unison, as you know, with the likes of the agencies and government and organizations. They're working out and seeing what way they stand. And this is one way that they do it. They're like, well, 54% are saying no. That's a hell of a lot of people there to say no. You've also got the don't knows in there. So the don't know category can go either here or they can go there. If the entirety of the don't know category were going to go here, that would give a 45%. Well, we would say 46% there to be completely accurate. 46% there if the I don't knows were to join them. What do you think the likelihood of 15.1% join the I don't knows from the I don't knows to the yeses are? Very low. I would say it might be even a 50% of that then. So you're talking about over 60% then that would say, no, I'm not paying it. And maybe closer to about 40% then that would say, yeah, I'll pay it. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Now, in my view, obviously, as well, too, they'll use the sort of data to go back and say, well, 54% isn't too bad. And what they will spin in the media, as you know, which is more than 30%. That's what they'll say. More than 30% of people will renew their license. That's what they'll say. That's what they'll do. I bet you the article will come out in the next 24 to 48 hours. No doubt in my mind. And they'll try and spin it that way rather than say, well, the majority said, nah, you're all right. We won't be doing that at all. So there you go. It's not a phobia. I'm not afraid of you. Love that one idea. That's excellent. Try and take that meme, save it, share it on. Happy days. This is something that you're saying, and I'm just going to pull it out here. You've got a fantastic Twitter account that's out there. Now, I've seen this myself, forced it, but I always send these types of things onto them. Irish, Africans and Irish adverts for some reason on Twitter. But here you are again. Now, I look into these things, and you might say, you look into these things a little bit too much, you do on the way it is. Look at the way that this is presented. Okay, so this is the Dean in Ireland. This is a sponsored advert. So they've paid for this advert to be promoted. They've gotten 5 interactions with it and 5 comments on it. The 5 comments were negative, by the way. They were all like, why is there an African being served in bed? Why are we promoting Africans in our adverts? What's going on here? Get 10% off our best available rate. So they paid for this advert and have only gotten 5 positive interactions. Look how this looks. You have the black woman sitting in bed, And I like looking at imagery because, again, like, I'm someone that's keenly interested in comic books and movies and TV series and stuff like that. So I see imagery and I'm like, I know what that's trying to convey. This is trying to convey here that this woman here has been served by a white person. They could have picked a black person. They could have picked an Asian person. I mean, that's not very diverse of them, is it, as well, too? They could have picked an Asian person. Of course, this is in Ireland as well, too, first and foremost, where the black population is actually low enough at the moment, but it is increasing and it is going to grow more. And these people want that. People in government and people in the media want that to do, because they want to cause division amongst people. That's the ultimate goal. Anyway, going towards this here. Look at the type of face that's on her. She's just looking ahead. She's not even looking at the person that's serving this here. The disdain. So this person has been instructed within this here to look ahead and not even acknowledge this here, which is disrespectful, which is rude, which is not the way it should be. But it's like, why wouldn't you serve me, peasant, the way it goes? Imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine the outcry that there would be on the likes of RTE and on News Talk and all these other articles that are out there. It'd be absolutely unbelievable. But that's the thing. I think places need to lean into things like that. They need to go, well, this is what we're going to do. We are also seeing foreigners now start to post online, which is like, hey, hang on. I've seen foreigners that have posted not only on this post, but on other posts as well, too, that are online, that are like, why is there a foreigner, and particularly an African, being pictured here for an Irish advert? It's even catching on with them. Because a lot of these foreigners that come here, by the way, they come here for an Irish experience. The same way that if you went to Japan or China and decided, hang on here, I'm seeing wall to wall Africans over here, I'm seeing wall to wall white people. Why am I seeing that? I'm going over for a Japanese experience. Foreigners that are coming in here for tourism and looking at it and they're going, hang on here now, it's looking like Bangladesh around O'Connell Street. I don't want to be hanging around that. You're seeing also as well too the Roma gang. You ever see the fella there only last week or the week before put out a video? He was like, I think it's very strange that these people are living in Dublin 1. Yeah, I do too, mate. And I've been saying it, and a lot of other people have been saying it for the last few years. How is it that people that come over that are known for begging, and that's all they seem to do? How is it that they've gathered Georgian houses in and around D1? Those houses are worth an absolute fortune, and our owner not paying housing them if they're after being gifted to them. So how are they able to do that? Anyway, going back to this here, the way that this picture looks is absolutely horrific for the day in here. This is one of the worst things that I've seen in a while, because it comes off totally dismissive and totally the way it does look, which is, you're subservient to me, I'm not even going to look at you. I mean, and of course then the multicolored hair as well too, the multicolored eyebrows, which don't look good either. I mean, whoever told her that those eyebrows look good with that hair, you gotta sack the stylist there, lady. This is what I was talking about earlier on. This is now Gettr's 27 likes the last time I checked as well, so that's not bad at all. 66.5k views, 10 likes. Here's what Luke O'Neill is spouting now. Luke O'Neill, 4,000 steps a day are all you need. While most fitness apps and trackers tell you walk 10,000 steps a day, 4,000 steps are all you really need, according to Professor Luke O'Neill. I didn't know that Luke O'Neill was now a fitness instructor. I didn't know he was that now. I didn't know he was a PT. This fella's a jack of all trades, isn't he? He knows everything about the sniffles. He knows everything about what you should be doing and how you should be doing. He knows everything about men and women. This fella's a know-it-all. And he comes across that way. And when you've seen that video that came out, I think it was last year, of people confronting him at a social gathering, and the cops were called pretty quickly to move people on. Very telling that you can't ask out Professor Luke there. But you can go on to News Talk here and you can talk all sorts of absolute drivel that he can. 4,000 steps a day. So I tweeted underneath that. 57 comments, by the way, 10 likes. Absolutely obliterated when it came to being right out here they were as well. Again, look at the amount of views. This is it. This is one of the best things, by the way, that Elon Musk did, was put view counts on that. Now, again, they have something like 300,000 followers, by the way. Look at me. The fact that Luke O'Neill isn't in prison just shows how corrupt this country is. 102 likes, 13 likes. 102 views, 13 likes. I'm getting ahead of myself there. Like, ratio there in record time. And this is up to about 27, 28 likes now at this stage of the game. Very simple. But people are looking at it and are saying to themselves, hang on here now, I'm not a fan of the corruption. Corruption's bothering people now. They're like, well, we always knew things went on. But they're going on to a degree now that we're not happy with. Lucasade Energy Ireland, another African in the advert there. This is an Irish company as far as I know, Lucasade, that they're promoting Soleil's Summer Sounds. Who is this person? It's on Lucasade. It's open Spotify. Who is this person? Look at the bull ring and the nose as well. And the Cruella de Vil looking coat on her. Like, what's the story with that? What's the story with that? Did no one tell you that that's linked in with Cruella de Vil? No? Anyway, Lucasade Energy Ireland. I thought this was Lucasade Energy Nigeria. Like, what's the story, lads? I'm looking forward to adverts coming out of Nigeria now. Nigeria they can't happen because they've banned foreign models and voiceover artists from their adverts. Oh, that's very xenophobic and racist of Nigeria, isn't it? Here we go. This is something that Satirical Soldier also posted out there as far as I know. And this was this is interesting. Gardaí close access to ATMs after queues form following glitch and with Bank of Ireland app. So this company, by the way, 176,000 views. Shut the comments down. That's interesting. That is interesting. They decided to shut the commentary down because the commentary was as it was going to go, which is why are the Gardaí doing that? Why are they getting themselves involved with the banks? Is that not up to the banks to sort that out there? Have the banks not got security? Have not got people on call for that sort of stuff? Why are they sending the police? Who called the police? Who told them to go there? Interesting. So this is an image that was gathered, and recently, I've seen an image. Well, I shouldn't even say an image. I've seen a tweet. I think it was. I don't know whether it was a tweet or it was a post anyway, and it was people calling into question. Now, when I say people, it was Gemma, from what I understand, allegedly, respectively, calling into question Andy Heisman. Okay, now you know what I think. I think that people that are boots on the ground that are attending these things are super important. I think they're the most important in a lot of cases when they go to these things and they stand up to these people. I said it before: Philip Dwyer, Satirical Soldier, Derek Bloig, Mick O'Keefe, Toby, Irish Inquiry, the Irish Git, you name it, these guys are there, right? And I think that those guys are very important because they're boots on the ground and they're gathering people together. 100%. Andy Heisman, I don't know too much about him or anything like that, but I just know that he's been turning up to libraries and stuff like, and he's been also then saying to people, this isn't right. And it's gathered worldwide attention. Okay? So there's obviously going to be criticism when it comes from certain people. And obviously as well too, people haven't been too linked in with Gemma over the last while. When it comes to that as well too, obviously she's been ahead of the curve when it comes to certain things, and it was a little bit ahead of the time, but obviously has burned a lot of bridges. So a lot of people just aren't happy to, link in anymore. So like I said to people before, and I keep saying to people, you need to put differences aside and just say, look, this is what it is. I think what Andy's doing is a good thing. I think he's standing up to these people. And I think capturing images like this are so important because this just runs into what I've been talking about. Look at these people. These are the people that are supporting this rainbow stuff here, and they are supporting this sort of stuff being promoted towards kids. Now, over the last couple of days, there has been an image that has circulated as well too of Andy Heisman, whose hat was taken by one of the protesters there, Leah Doherty, from what I understand from what has been said online. And she took his hat and he wrestled to get it off her. She's now running around saying, oh my God, can't believe he's doing this to me, I'm a woman. But your group there thinks that a woman can be a man and a man can be a woman. So, like, this is the stupidity with which you're dealing with. And people have seen through that now over the years, and they're at the stage now where they don't care. They're like, I don't care I don't care. And this is something the Satirical said himself, even a great quote. I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's just like, we're at the stage now where beforehand I would have had an inkling and a care and a bit of respect, but not anymore with these people, because if the shoe was on the other foot, these people would not just wrestle with you. It'd be way more than that and way worse than that. So you see these images, and I keep saying it to people, and it's going to come up again in the Sinn Féin video, and I always bring it up when I talk about these things here. Ugly women have had a very detrimental effect on society over the last number of years, and they have been given platforms on social media. This is why you're seeing Sinn Féin, for example, making the play for women in politics and women in communities and in specific spheres and also in specific positions. You're seeing, for example, Drew Harris starting to get a lot of criticism, and the GRA starting to press ahead now where there's no confidence voting him. The Canadian woke woman is waiting in the wings, by the way, just so you know. So this, to me, when you see all that sort of stuff rolling, is all by a plan. To paraphrase and to talk about, say, for example, how the Joker talks about, it's all part of the plan. What I would say at this stage of the game, want to do is they want to move the Canadian woman in to the position that Drew Harris holds, and they will try their most to get all of this woke stuff over the line and try and say, look, we're going to comply with this, that, and the other. But when you see imagery like this, And I keep saying it, and people had said initially, Ninja, you're too harsh on these people and how they look, and you focus how they look. Every single time, these people look like they're extras from the orcs from Lord of the Rings. Every single time. It's never an attractive woman. Ever, 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 ever. And these three images are, again, three images of people. And I don't know if this is a dude. People are running around saying, I don't know whether that's a one man or a woman. And again, like I said, if you have someone that's going out there with these people that is a dude dressing as a woman, is a dude for, then the gall of you then to run around and say, oh my God, I can't believe I was wrestled with because I took someone else's property because I'm a woman. Doubtfire hanging behind you there now is like, you're on that side. This is where we're going. You're saying that this dude is as much a woman as you are. So where are you at with that? This is why, for example, the likes of the Afghanistanis now that look at places like this, and they, again, this is what they do, and they see what a soft touch this place is. This is why they come here, because they're like, this place is run. It's an absolute circus. You've got people there that are completely weak, running the show and telling people what to do, and you've seen it for, like, I would say even now the last generation, like my generation in particular, and maybe even the one before it. You're seeing men, and I see it all the time, men being spoken to by women, spoken down to, and I'm like, I'd say it. I'd be like, you should check her, especially the way when she says something like that. And like the women are stunned, but they respect it because they're like, well, in fairness to him, he's not going to let that go unchecked. We've got these guys that are like, oh yeah, okay, no worries, no problem, we won't say it again. That just emboldens the likes of me. I just go, what did you say that you don't like? Oh, I'm just going to say it again. I'm going to say it louder. And that's how you operate with these things. And this is what's going on here now. You have people that have been given, and I mean, there's a certain word that I can use here that would demonstrate what I actually really think about these people. But you have these people that have been given this outlet. They have been given carte blanche to do what they like with these things. And like I said to you beforehand, these people aren't going to have any children, more than likely. And what they are looking to do is they are looking to have the next wave of people, the next wave of Agent Smiths come through. And they are looking to corrupt children in particular. In my humble opinion, that's what they are looking to do, to join the gang that they are in. And of course, as well, too, as I keep saying to you, they keep using people like this. They keep using ugly women because ugly women are shown no attention. This is how people work. And this is something that has to be explained to people constantly. You know, as well as I do, that in the last generation, or the generation before mine, the likes of social media didn't exist. Okay? And people will point to that and say, well, that's where things went wrong. Well, I disagree and I agree, which is contradictory. But I agree because I'd say, well, it has given ugly women and ugly women too much to say and too much to do. And in fact, then they've ruined lives, and they are looking to ruin lives and make lives harder for everybody else around them because they're not getting the attention that a good-looking woman is. So there you have it. And when it comes down to that, then these people get bitter, they get vindictful, and you're seeing the stages over here. Look at this. Probably not too over the head yet. This one knows that she's an orc extra. This one here knows that she's way over the hill as well. This, and now again, not unsure. They don't know whether this is Boy George reincarnated or what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? But these two fundamentally realize here that they ain't getting anywhere. And this is the cause that they're going towards. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. 3 brilliant images that have been stitched together. Absolutely awesome. This is also something that happened during the week as well. This was in France. This was taken by someone online, and I was just like, well, this would be a funny one to take and put up there. Apparently was walking past the Monet, was chatting in French with the French lads. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. We're sending the Gardaí over across the different parts of Europe so they can walk the beach over there. It would make more sense if they are walking around O'Connell Street. It would make more sense if they were walking around the city centre of Dublin. You won't see them in the city centre of Dublin. You're not seeing them there. You're seeing them hanging around in France. What use of that to the Irish people is that? It's absolutely bonkers stuff. Completely and utterly bonkers. Why would they be doing that? Makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. So you've got these guys that are over there now, and they're doing this sort of stuff for no reason. Why are they doing that? Why are they in France? No, I don't want to make changes to the device. I'm happy with it as it is. I hope the sound is still good. Anyway, you've got Gardaí then that are over there in France. Why are they doing this? Well, in my view, the ultimate plan is to create this. We're actually going to, there's been big trouble here with recruitment numbers. This is how it's going to go. Allegedly, speculatively. It's a big trouble with recruitment numbers, so we're going to have to open it up. And I tell you what, the police force across Europe, they're also experiencing the same problem. So we're just going to make it one police organization. Well, okay. So you were talking about one police force there for the entirety of Europe, eh? Okay, right. That sounds like you want to get that done within 7 years, doesn't it? Till you get to 2030. Almost seems like that's part of your agenda, doesn't it? So this is what I think when it comes to this here, because I don't see the reasoning as to why a Garda member is across there in France walking along here. Makes no sense. Makes zero sense. What's he going to learn from this here? What's he going to learn? I mean, you're so concerned about the climate. Why is this fella not on a Zoom call with these buckaroos and says, "Here, look, what's going on over there? How do you deal with it? All right, that's interesting. Thanks very much." 10 minutes is all it takes. No, we fly him out to France there and he can walk along with this. You'll be more used there and I'll concentrate there, lad. Absolute nonsense it is. Like I said, this is all just part of the plan. And you're also saying then fellas coming into this country hand over fist because they want to stick them in uniforms like this and in uniforms like the ones in the defence forces as well too. This is the game. And this is the thing. When you understand the playbook that these people are using and have been using for some time, it's very easy to understand. Rachel Riley, I'll stop supporting Manchester United if Mason Greenwood is reinstated. Hang on, let's start the skipping up here. But yeah, well, off you go then, off you pop then, nobody needs you. You know, Mason Greenwood is going to come back. And I mean, in my view, I think women that make false accusations should absolutely face the maximum amount of time in prison that they should be gifted. Look at what happened to Benjamin Mendy. Fella's career was wrecked. 2 years sitting out there. Lost an awful lot of money, lost his career basically, and it was found out then that they were telling lies. Now the thing is with Mason Greenwood, and it's a little bit different because nobody's saying he didn't do anything. What she is doing is she is after dropping everything she said and has now had a child and is now married to him. So this extended chat about Mason Greenwood coming back or not coming back to Manchester United, it's paper talk as well too. So the papers read the headline, so they're happy enough with that too. Don't get me wrong when it comes to that. Status yellow rain warning extended to 26 counties on Friday. So this is linked in earlier on what I was talking about with the rain nonsense. Imagine that they know all these things. The crowd seating this year has been on another level, as I said. This is Rachel Riley character. Off you pop. Galway JR star tribute as All Ireland winner taken too soon. His exploits on the field and his manner off of it will never be forgotten. What's going on? Why are all these young lads going away? Like, what's going on there? Argentinian right-wing presidential candidate Javier Milei Excorcoritis. Is that how you say? Ish leftists can't give them an inch. He's absolutely correct there. He's absolutely on the money when it comes to that there. Barbara there says, I think there's a resurgence of criticising certain people that are not supposed to be criticised because at this point in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural. And I think we are going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be a monolithic societies they were in the last century. These people that you can't criticise are going to be at the centre of that. It's huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going into a multicultural mode, and the people you can't criticise, of course, will be resented because of our leading role. But without that leading role and without that transformation, Europe will not survive. She's saying there as well. Oh, yeah, that's right. Israel is a tiny nation with only 8 million people. We can't take too many immigrants since we depend too much on aid as it is. You know? That's in a nutshell. You're only saying that in Gab, by the way. You're not saying it anywhere else. South Africa ordered to disclose contracts with the companies. South African court ruled the government must disclose contracts signed with the pharmaceutical companies for the Voldemort's, a victory for advocates who alleged authorities were guilty of wrongdoing. So, wait and see what happens there. We have Radgar on marriage plans and welcoming kids with partner Matthew Barrett. Wasn't he not cheating on that fella not too long ago? The Finn Gael leader is about to celebrate his 8th anniversary with his long-time partner. Again, was he not cheating on him a while ago? He should be in prison first and foremost, but he absolutely shouldn't be having any kids. Like, I mean, that's who's facilitating that, is what I'd say. He should be in jail too. George there, boys into CRH ahead of US stock market move for Irish building joint. Billionaire investors. This is what I talked about the last show. Interesting that, isn't it? This fella sees himself as a god, by the way. Full on bad guy. Claremont are building positions in Irish building materials company CRH before it shifts its primary listing to a US exchange. Gardaí received 40 calls in 4 hours of accused gathering at Bank of Ireland ATMs. It is understood Justice Minister Helen McEntee was not informed in advance that the Gardaí will be deployed to some of the banks. Who gave the order? Who gave the order? There's the thing there. I'm worried about my 16-year-old. Yeah, we were horrified with some of the things he said about refugees. You'll be a good pup, yeah. Bank of Ireland warns money withdrawn during IT blunder will be debited as online services are restored. They also have the data. They have it all. They do there. RTE coverage may be cut if TV license drop continues, warns Backhorse. That's a reward, sure. That's not a threat. Tried to tell you the last year the scam was their worst play. What they meant for evil, God is turning for good. People sitting inside on the internet for a year went down rabbit holes and started to notice. As we all know, once you start to notice, you can't stop noticing. We're only just now beginning to see the fruit of this today. You should see what the Gen Z group chats look like, and they are. They're litty. The next apocalyptic event is being established. That was a good meme. That's the dude there. Is that lad JD? Is he? He's absolutely brilliant. That's the brilliant video, by the way. Like I said, I don't know if he can play it or not. Yeah, you know. They're shouting and screaming about this fella, but like he literally does this on TV and in recordings, and there's nothing being done. You know, says it all. She does not need to apologise. This is the woman from the plane. Lord Almighty, lads. Keep saying it. Base women on our side. Always good looking. Apparently, this woman did apologise for what she said, but she shouldn't have done that. She just kept going. You know what I mean? She made a big name for herself. This amazing. Oliver Anthony, Richmond, north of Richmond. Absolutely phenomenal. Netherlands enters recession. Just in forced Germany. Now the Netherlands enters recession. Great to say that now. It's coming here soon. Irish Nando's customer demands refund for €50 meal. His portion was too small. People are starting to wake up now and they're starting to go, hang on here now, I'm not having this. A man says, like, it was about £10 worth of groceries there and I'm being charged €50. Now, Irish people are not known for this, by the way. They're known for just putting up and shutting up. But it's over. Donahue, imprisonment last resort for those who don't pay TV licenses. Go to prison for not forking over your money, but the country has no border and illegal entrants are being given freebies. Plain as it is, you should be actually in prison. Politicians should be in prison, to be quite honest with you. I think I talked about earlier on. Not enough Guardian County made to deal with stuff there. Isn't that Helen McEntee's county? Yeah, that's unusual, isn't it? She's talking about Dublin, but she's problems there in made. Price of points set to increase as pubs warn of tipping points. Publicans have warned that a 4% hike in the price of a pint from today, taking an imminent VAT increase, threatens to prove a tipping point for the 2.5 billion sector. It's done. It's finished. The pubs are on the way out. Like, this is just a slow burner here. Most of them supported the government during the sniffles, so you're not going to get any support from me, really, to be quite honest with you. I feel sorry for the genuine ones that are out there, but few and far between. And I mean, a lot of them just bowed over and just said, yeah, no, look, we'll do what we're doing. I wouldn't frequent the pub ever again, really, to be quite honest. Profits decline at Arena Allen's Ballymallow. Now, if you knew about Ballymallow and the deal, you wouldn't be paying for it at all. Cookery skill, but 12-week cookery course next year is sold out. Cost of course set to increase to 14,495 next year. Purposely supporting these people is bang of order. If you were supporting these people now only, I mean, shame on you is what I'd say. Dublin's Hannah Tyrrell, life with wife Sorka, baby, and mental health struggles. This is scandalous. Hannah Tyrrell is a rugby star as well as an amazing ladies footballer. Here's everything you need to know about the Dublin's player life and on and off the pitch. This is absurd. We're at the stage and at the moment in time now, we're talking about these people and they're like, oh, they have a baby as if it's normal. This isn't normal. God created man and God created woman. Didn't create two women just to be hanging around doing this. Oh, yeah, and then replace the daddy. Kids come to not know what's going on. Ridiculous stuff. They're not pitting the races against each other. They're uniting everyone against white people. They're not doing divide and conquer. They're doing it to isolate and destroy. They're not inciting an issue like that. They're administering a passing. You know, you get a lot of good stuff on Gap. For flagship, this group's Voldemort is a tough act to follow. It's actually insane that these companies are taking victory laps. They're actually talking about that. Brashly confident biotech VC firm seeks the next world-changing company. They're running around going, yay! And like the people behind them, no worries about that, tall lads. Well, I'm not emigrating. I want to stay and strive to make Ireland a better place. If we want things to be better, we have to actively improve them by participating, voting, protesting. I said, just by judging by the picture there now, I've had to tell this woman's politics like really quickly. If allegedly, speculatively, well, I don't know. I'm unsure. Officers would not recommend defence forces careers to friends or relatives, survey shows. More than half of those surveyed who had quit defence forces were aged in their 30s, and some received their officer commissions, as recently as 2021. Great. Gardaí to crack down on uninsured drivers with instant roadside checks. Not illegal immigrants, no. It's cracking down on you forking over money to the cartels. There you go. That was last week there. Moved around there. Let's keep going on. Yeah, the FBI as well too were out there last week with your man there, Craig Robertson. They could have approached him in a supermarket or something like that. Nah. They decided to knock on his gaff and enter the gaff then during the night time. So the guy obviously was looking, thinking it was a break-in. And then they were like, "Oh, he pulled her up, and why didn't you drop into him at a more opportune time, And he wouldn't have done that. Stopped eating Fruit Loops when I found out that he used red food dye made from crushed cactus bugs, named as carmine, cochineal. These are things, by the way, you're not saying anywhere else. Cochineal extract, carminic acid, natural red 4, crimson lake, carmine lake E120. By tiny cactus bugs in red food dye are a $35 billion industry. Big business insider. I mean, they're literally telling you these things, by the way. Food joint Kellogg's accused of racial, gender bias and diversity policies. Conservative legal group America Force Legal has called on the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This is going to be sort of stuff rolled out here soon, by the way. So this is why it's relative. You might say this has got on to do with us. It will be soon. To investigate Kellogg's for alleged unlawful workplace diversity practices and accuse the company of, its products. This marks the second complaint filed this week by the non-profit, headed by former Trump advisor Stephen Miller, asserting that Kellogg's employment strategies, which purportedly aim for racial and gender balance, run afoul of federal anti-bias laws. It's all coming across. It's all going to move its way across here, by the way, too. More and more companies in Germany are on the verge of collapse. In July, corporate insolvencies rose by 23.8% compared to last year. Germany, known for being very well looked after and very astute and very intelligent, 23%, the high number lands. RTE chiefs reading is almost 4 in 10 no longer paying €160 license fee, nearly 50% there. Dependency on RTE is really showing how desperate the government are to keep it afloat. So the more times they do things like this, I think it's the better it is for us to go look at what they're doing here. They're absolutely desperate to keep this going. TV license fee should be scrapped and replaced with big tech tax, says Murphy. The situation has led to concerns RTE will need a large bailout in the budget to ensure it can maintain its services. So this was hidden in the article, by the way. So the headline's there, but that was hidden in there. I said, this is a spoiler that they will keep RTE going on all costs. We are witnessing a society collapse in real time. The emperor has no more clothes now anymore, lads. What's happening is they're actually telling you we're nothing without RTE. Without that, we're finished. Like, we're done. And it's clear. It's very clear. So big tech tax, that's not even going to be a runner. We all know that video. So he's just guffawing now. Gardaí seek assistance in tracing 3 children who have been at the centre of child abduction proceedings. A High Court judge has ruled that the names and images of 3 children who were the subject of child abduction proceedings can be published following their fathers as a request there. Not a big story according to them now. Why wasn't that published everywhere? What's the story with that? It's kind of like, oh well. Uninsured driver with 50 prior driving offences had no respect for the rules of the road. An uninsured driver caught behind the wheel for the 11th time had shown no respect for the rules of the road, a judge said. Like, that's what they're concerned about. Oh, he's uninsured. Why? Well, you're concerned about the money going towards insurance companies, that's why. Fragger encourages public to pay TV license fees or RT funding. He's under criminal investigation. Wouldn't be taking any advice from him. Without a doubt, a government that will go down in history as treacherous. Flotels for asylum seekers to be progressed by governments. Not for the homeless, of course. RTE hit with further drop in TV license fee revenue. They're losing as much as Bud Light. This is great. It's good to see. Benjamin Mendy's chasing millions of pounds in back pay for Manchester City. I hope he gets it as well too, because this fellow was found innocent. He was, but he wasn't found innocent. Well, he was found innocent. He was, because the whole thing fell apart. It did, and he was proved to have not done what they said he did. So they told false. Well, they made false accusations against him, and that should be. I mean, the women that did that should be facing jail for the same amount of time that he would have faced if he had been caught in there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how that should have went. Let's keep going here. Letters. Rosa Tralee has no place in modern Ireland, so I'm scrapper entirely. So the good looking women are being targeted there. You've been told you're no longer. United take the money and run on. The sites will visit Dublin. The Irish media are fuming because United put them off. United just came and went, didn't do any interviews with them, and just done it all on MUTV. They told the Irish media where to go. So that's why the Irish media are upset on your behalf. Temperatures to reach scorching 25 degrees this week. I said, lol. I mean, that lasted for all of what, 1 day. Feel like it was in an alien land. International students struggling to find accommodation ahead of college term. You know, you shouldn't be permitted into the country. Let's be fair. Let's be honest there. Like, you should be doing it in your own country. I mean, they've not got the resources. And we have caught up with last week's show. So I had a couple of things that I was posting during last week to get there. So believe it on the Joker. See, the morals, they're coded the bad joke. Drop to the first sign of trouble. Not only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people that eat each other alive. It's not a monster. Just ahead of the curve. And that's the Joker quote for this evening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump through the chat really quickly and say hello to people. I know people have something else to do on our Friday night. So I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you listening to this channel and this stream for as long as you have been. It's been a total joy to have done this stream yet again. And now I'm going to fly through the chat here. A lot of notifications there for Derek McManus in the chat. Let's keep going here. Where did the live chat move on that one? It's weird. Anyway, I'll drop across here. So we've got here now. Eric O'Callaghan joins as a member. Thanks very much. Fernand Muraku says there's all for the current content. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Let's jump through and let's see what's going on in the chat. So we're at 8 o'clock here in the chat now. To catch up to about 10:30. Vaughn Malone says he was a fan of Kevin Samuels despite the unpopularity with BW. Not sure what that is. Not sure what that is at all. Kevin Coyle says, Quivian says, how do I download all these apps? Well, Gab, you go on and you can download from the internet. Streaky Bacon says, Ninja, perhaps in 5 years you will be presenting the RT news. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Susan Reynolds says, global warming, please, we could deal with some climate change. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a warm day, wouldn't it? And Lion Joel says, Ninja Knight, how brazen is it that the government says that they will fund the shortfall to RTE? It's an insult to the taxpayer. It is. I mean, they're constantly just flipping people off to their faces, you know what I mean? Christian Ahern says we could get Rhinestone Cowboy a nighttime Pox had nice hopes. Not sure what that means. Anyway, we keep going. The chat always have something interesting to say. Let's keep going along here. Lefty's losing. It says, was Leo on the George last night with another bloke again? Don't tell me he was. Don't tell me he was. Because if he was, that's a video that I'll definitely put out because I'd be like, listen. He's out there talking about marriage and having kids with this fella. And look what he's doing out there and on the night out. Again, and the Lion Joel says, Ninja Knight, Bertie used to be approached nightly in Fagan's bar in Drumcondra. Sean Max says, Kenny and Bertie Ahern seem to be left alone. They shouldn't. Yeah, no, I agree with you there. They shouldn't be left walk along without people having things to say to them. It's absolutely apparent. You know, the end of Kenny fella, you know, man's house is his kingdom. Probably tax there, lads, on that one. You know what I'm saying? Absolute dorts. Lefty's losing is making some interesting and very funny comments there. Energetically one says, I agree with the called upon by God sentiments. Yeah, like I feel that way for sure. You know, I really do. Mr. X says we were 100% on the right side of history without a doubt. I love my fellow Patriots more than any of you ever will know. Thanks, NK, for speaking the truth, and God bless you all. God bless, absolutely, 100%. Totally agree. Budgie Borger says some people still think that Neil Armstrong played golf on the moon. Oh, man. And the rest of it. JP Sears, Awaken with JP. That's the one, not JD, it was JP. Thanks for that, James Casey. Appreciate that there. JD was calm, brutal. Absolutely brutal. JP, Awaken with JP. He's excellent, he is. And the satirical nature of his videos are very, very good. It's always funny when you click into the comments and you see a couple of people there that are like, I'm not really sure what you're saying here, if you're being serious. And I'm like, whoa. Sarcasm just doesn't fit with you people. Where's Red says, Ninja Knight, have you seen that Mackenzie is the company running the anti-who white training program for Louth County workers in the States? Donnelly is a former employee. Really? That's an interesting thing. These people are all linked with the companies and stuff that they've been in. You know, it's kind of like they're their little test. I'll run around these companies and see how you get on, and then they're out here and they're unleashed upon people. And it's like the Fordham have their young members. Like that's what they are. They're all part of that club. End of line Joe says Ninja Knight, look at how much fake right wing opposition that Giorgia Meloni turned out to be in Italy. She's now magically pro immigrant now. Yep. A lot of people are unhappy about that one. Armchair Limerick National says sound for the stream, Ninja. Thanks very much, man. Much appreciated for the shout out there. Sean Max says Gardaí seem to not realise that they can only legally deal with criminal matters incidents and not civil matters incidents, but lately they keep crossing the line and are now policing civil matters as well. I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing at all. I don't think any of them are up on the law, and I also don't think that they're interested in it. I mean, we saw it with that bus. We saw that bus with bus incident with Bus Erden, and where your man was saying, put the statutes and the laws aside, and you're like, you're actually in uniform saying that. Like, that's outrageous. Leslie's losing it to Lisper. Hit the like button, folks, says Richard McKevitt. 158 in the chat and only 54 likes. How many likes are we at now at the moment? I can only see 8 here on this one. Hang on here. I do usually have to jump back into the stream to see it. Where are we going now? Anyway, probably shouldn't be doing this live, should I? Like looking at the likes. And it's always entertaining for people that are shouting that sort of stuff out. 135 likes, not bad at all. I'd say a couple of people having a look, seeing what they think, dropping out that they're not happy about what you're saying. Pinocchio, I don't know who people are calling it. Finola Omuriko says they'll try to Zoom people. Frank Barron says the millennial cynic is suspect, don't trust her. I'm not sure who that is now. I'm not sure who that is. So I've seen that name before, though, funnily enough. Mark Brown says RFK is not godly. Have to look into that more, I do. He's saying the right things in terms of the Voldemorts. Don't think any of these people are totally, the best. The chat's saying things that I can't actually repeat here. That's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, look, I mean, it's like American presidents there. They all go to a certain wall, you know what I mean? Like, it's not good when you see that. And Americans are questioning that themselves. They're like, hang on here for a sec. Why are there guys going across there? Why are they doing that at all? But yeah, no, I agree with you as well too. Frank Barnes says Vanessa Kerry is a fishmonger. She looks like the Outboy as well too. Big Jay Leno heading it. The Bank of Ireland contacted the Minister for Justice, who contacted Drew Harris, says Sean Mack. Derek McMahon says Dave Cullen is not in chat tonight so far, Ninja Night. He might pop back in at some stage. Frank Barnes says, I wonder about YouTube numbers, only 121 at 856 when the numbers would be at a high point. Yeah, look, people dip in and out as well too. It depends on what is interesting to them. I mean, they know that this thing goes on for a while too. Renault Vatio, that's a new one. That's a new person in here. Says Natalie Portman ranted Hollywood should have quotas for women directors. She owned the film company, which at that time had made 9 movies. She'd hired all directors. Only one was female. Whore. She's after breaking up with the husband as well too, recently as well too. He was down the dirty on her. So it only lasts for so long. George Storty says Madonna's face has collapsed. Yeah, Madonna looks woeful these days. I don't even know if it's even her. John Reedy says, I'll watch tomorrow. I have... I'm not even going to finish that there. He says he's unwell. We put it that way. Reuters is pronounced as spoofers. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. A lot of people are well cogged into what's going on here. Erdo Callahan says, Ninja Night bit behind. Great to have you back. You were missed last week. Thanks very much. A lot of good shouts here from the chat there. Tom Garvin says, if you men, in quotes, spread to see Barbie, you deserve to be dumped. If you got dumped, she did you a favour. Yeah, I don't know any bloke that went to go and say that. And if I did, I'd be like, what are you doing? And he's seeing the same amount of channels that do the clickbait stuff. I went to see Barbie and it was woke. Why? Why are you funding that movie for? You'll do the same now when Blue Beetle comes out and you'll tell us it's woke as well too. I know from a trailer if something's going to be good or if it's not, because they show you pretty much all the movie nowadays. So these people that go out and they go, oh, I can't believe that the TMNT was woke. Listen, you seen what April looked like 6 months ago. You knew it was going to be that way. Anyway, the purpose of marriage for the state is to encourage the continuation of the population. Yeah, well, the marriage thing as well too. What's happened is women have been given the ability by the state to weaponize marriage insofar as if you break up and you divorce or whatever like that. Obviously, as well too, from a spiritual relationship and of course as well a religious point of view, that shouldn't be in the cards. But it actually gives them the power then to take an awful lot of wealth out of a marriage if they don't see it's fit. Like I said, there's your woman Giselle that was hoodwinked to thinking that she was going to do better than Tom Brady is no longer with him, and she's dating some fella that's in like a non-league. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's ruined people like that. But it's doing that to generations. It is, and I think marriage will make a comeback. But I think the thing is that there's too much state involvement in it, and as well, and people are just not big believers of the church anymore as an organization because of all of the stuff that's gone on there and the way it's been absolutely and utterly gutted over the years. And the fellas that are running it, in particularly the one now, like wanting to go woke now, people are just like, nah, I'm not into that now. I don't want that at all. Nothing. Like, I mean, if the next pope is like Vegano, it's not going to be Vegano. I already know that, and you know that. But if he's someone that's hardline like Vegano, that's how you would see a massive return to the church. You know, I think you would see that for sure, because this whole thing of like, oh, you know, everyone's nah, that's not how it's supposed to go. Really, not. And the sanctity of marriage has just been totally and utterly taken away, which is absolutely unfortunate, of course, you know. So a lot of people, for example, they just don't like men nowadays, they see it. You see, marriage has become, and again, I'm just gonna say it's become like a business transaction now, and men are looking at it and they're like, well, what am I getting out of it? And you know, Pearl there, for example, that does that show Just Parody thing, she's really good. And she was like 1 in 4 marriages are not, you know, engaging in certain stuff there. And she's like, that's what the idea of it is. Like, you're supposed to, but like 1 in 4 are not doing that. So then, like, the man is going, sure, like, what am I doing? And then you have cases then where men go off with other women, then, and then he's made out to be the villain. And you're like, but how can he be the villain when the other side isn't holding up the end of the bargain here? Like, do you know what I mean? And of course, then what's happened then with the legal system and with the state is they've empowered the woman then to be like, well, if I don't like that, I can divorce you, take the house, take everything like that, and have everything belonging to me. Like, it's wild. And that's why guys aren't messing around with marriage anymore. That's why it's plummeting. Real talk. Wayne Bork says, F the new world order and one world government. Totally agree with you there as well too. People are looking at what's happening as well with Ireland, England, and Scotland as well too, with the fellas that are leading them. They're like, hang on, they all seem to hail from one part of the world too. Renovatio says McEntee has already spent half her time as a minister on maternity leave. Now they want to give her another holiday. Strong female leadership there. That's a good one, yeah. But yeah, it just made a mockery of the whole thing. McEntee will eventually be a civilian again, and she will be fair game for members of the public when she gets voted out of office. They'll probably stick her in Europe, let's be honest with you. Derek Mann says Ninja Knights allegedly speculative again. Take a drink, folks. Refusing. Sean's already on the beers there as well too. He's cheering there as well. So that's got the memo there at the beginning. 78 likes, says Lefty's looting at all government accounts. Gas. I'm embarrassed as I'm in town a lot and I don't see Garda very often. They're the only 101 forces based. Thank you very much. Frank Barnes says Thunder there half an hour ago. It was a 9:15. Mark played Luke Skywalker 46 years ago. Ah, yeah, 46 years ago. I was underselling it there with 30 years, 46 years ago. He hasn't played Luke Skywalker since. Whatever he did there in that trilogy was bad news. Lefty's losing. It says it was in Bray yesterday and 4 foreigners working on the apartment block right down at the end of the town jumped over the wall to grab a woman. Joggers. Yikes. Did you see that video of the fella as well too? That was just like, hey, these people here in this house, these Indians haven't paid for the extension that I done. And he went along with the chainsaw. Did you see that? That was mad. Absolutely mad. Derek Man says fat, unattractive women like attention from immigrants, allegedly respectively. Loads of them fly over to Turkey. Well, that's what they used to do. They used to fly over to Turkey. They did. I saw that in real time. Sheepdog says, I think the vote on Harris is the start of the pushback Ninja Night by the guards. I don't know. I don't trust them. I really don't. You know, they've had their chances umpteen times now and I just don't. Like, I don't see the people that turn up to Ballybrack. A large point of it, what I'm saying to you is, I don't see a large amount of them engaging in what they engaged in and then going, yeah, no, we don't want your Harris. You know what I'm saying? I don't buy into that. Mary Q Phillips, you're on the money there when you're talking about selling, and then they're talking about organs. You're on the money there when it comes to these things. Zarowski says spot on ninja. Thanks very much. Yeah, Letitia Logan is talking about now Down syndrome in Iceland. It's heartbreaking, and it's actually, nobody wants any difficulties or any sort of challenges or anything like that for anybody in life. They don't. But like, this is the sort of narrative that's been pushed forward, which is like, oh, just they're disposable, and these people are actively out there. It breaks my heart, really does, when they're out there standing up at podiums and like they're talking about me, and I'm like, I hear you on that one, feel you on that one. Eric Bowser has everyone seen the Irish adverts lately? What a joke! Irish people not good enough for Irish adverts anymore. Ridiculous. That's how they get their money, by the way. A lot of these companies is by sponsoring these adverts and putting them out there. I think we should all move to Africa, lads. What do you reckon? I think we should all just go over there. A bit of sun and stuff like that, Derek Mann says Cobra Commander and Baron Ironblood were killed. Yeah, I don't think Cobra Commander was that bad of a guy when it comes to some of them that are running around the show here now. And my Cobra Commander was actually like pretty milk toast compared to these people. Access late to the game tonight. Hope all is well in the chat. Mr. X has had to pause, missed the chat there. Ninja Night, people are having a good time in the chat. It's always great to see people having a good time. Comments are always flying. Johnny Boy says, didn't get a notification. Sorry, Ninja, have to rewind, but glad to catch you live. Keep up the awakening. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Derek Mann says, like, share, and subscribe, please, folks. Support the channel and spread the word. Thank you. Sheepdog says, that was the OSI doing surveys to the best of knowledge, Ninja Night. That's been going on for the last few years, to be honest. Johnny Boy says, all foreign supporter countries are flooding mainstream media with fires caused by heat floods, caused by monsoons. So all of a sudden people think it's the climate. Yeah, the climate's the next gig now from them. They're actually trying to play it back in as well too. They're trying to play the sniffles up again. I've been hearing from people. I don't know if anyone in the chat's been having the same experience, but I've heard from people in different hospitals that they're messing about again. They're saying limited numbers of visitors and masks and stuff like that. I don't know if you've been hearing it. I've been hearing it from different hospitals, from people that have been visiting them. So I don't know whether that's all around the place, but it seems like they're trying to gear it up again, because he said something like, oh, this one's back now again, guys, in time for another winter, huh? Leon Curtis in here says, hi and good evening, Ninja Night, and all my lovely, sorry for my absence. All is good. Miss you all. Hope that each and every one of you are well. Good to see you here. Esther McDonald's succeeding to make it rain has been going on in America since the 1940s. Everything in nature was done right. Rain, snow, water, flow. Start messing with nature as they are all doing nature with Quebec. Absolutely. I mean, we've seen countless amounts of movies that teach you that lesson of like, don't mess about with nature. Nature's just gonna just come back, and here we still are. We still at this sort of stuff. Donald Dunn says it rains in Dubai every 2 weeks like clockwork because they make it rain. It's no secret. There you go. Yeah. Arsh Joseph says, what do they know about Maui that we don't? It's just where they want to build stuff. That's what they want. They just want it. That's what they'll do. They'll do anything they will to get these places. You see it in California as well every year, The chat's chatting amongst itself. There's some laugh there, honestly. People talking about the rotunda, they're talking about the maternity hospitals there now in the chat, saying like the place is wall to wall, non-Irish. That's not good. People talking about Lizzo, yeah, Lizzo and bananas. Have a look at that. Have a look into that there. Some laugh, I tell you what. Derek Mann says Ninja Night said allegedly respectively again. Take a drink, folks. Thank you. Fair play to you. Keeping tabs on that now tonight there, Derek. Fair juice. Mr. X says Derek Ninja is turning into Mr. Don't be going too hard down the line on that now. Topic says they're putting mostly black people in ads in an effort to normalise the presence of black people in Ireland. It makes it look like they're part of the fabric of the country. Oh yeah, sure. Like, I mean, don't you know, like, that it was a black fella that was actually Satan, that was actually Cucullin. Did you know that there? You'll see that. You'll see that eventually. They'd be telling you Michael Collins was black next. I'm telling you. Oh, stop. People having a good laugh in the chat at the left's expense. Love to see it. I think it's effective though. Like, I know you're laughing, having a good time, but it's effective to just ignore these people because they're just not relevant anymore. You know, we're becoming relevant. We're the relevant people to be talking about. We're the relevant side. The left is irrelevant. There's more people joining this side than there are the others, for sure. Let's keep going here now as well too. What's that there? Someone said something about Sinead O'Connor. Lefty's losing and says, did y'all see the crusties outside Sinead O'Connor's house for the funeral? I bet the smell of BO was unreal. I'd say so. Nobody in my circle cared about that at all. They were like, nah, not interested. Not interested in the slightest, really. I was like, that's interesting to see that someone got so much radio time and so much play and no one gave a rat's. Frank's Power says, Ninja Night, great to talk on Twitter. It makes your heart full when you're surrounded by it and listening to so many wonderful patriotic voices that just want what's right for family and country. God bless everyone. Fully agree with you, Ferg. Absolutely agree with you 110%. That's how you know you're on the right side of history. We've got Shane in here with a good comment. It says, blockade strikes needed in every area. Hit them where it hurts financially. I mean, look, here's the thing. If everybody decided not to go to work tomorrow, there'd be nothing that they could do. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, we need to change things up here now. What do the people want? But it's about getting the people on side. That's the thing. Refusing. Sean says he can't wait until the Rose of Tralee is, and this is definitely going to happen. You're going to have someone that's not very able. They're going to be black. And they'd probably be in a wheelchair. I tell you, sound sure. Did you see the one last year? Was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before. I did a video on it, and she was Miss Ireland. I think it was this African one. And then I put up 4 pictures of like her and the other finalists, and the other finalists were much better looking than she was. And I was like, how is this not a looks competition here? And people were like, you're being an istaphobe. And but that person, I said, is objectively not as good looking as the other 3 that are there. Do you disagree? And then they were like, well, here we go. That's ism. And I was like, well, do you think a white fella would win Mr. Nigeria? And they're like, well, that's never going to happen. I'm like, well, then what you're saying is racist. Fergus Power says, it'll be only for mention, so maybe the next date. But thank you, appreciate it, and God bless. Hope all's well there, Ferg. Hope you're feeling man as well too, by the way. Hope your back's all right. Importantly. Richard McCall says, internet is up here is wrecking me head, lol. I'm after missing half the show. I catch it back there. We were just keeping time until you were back there, Derek Mann says, congrats to Leanne on becoming a granny. Congrats indeed. Esther McDonald says, Joe Biden and his son Hunter, now who was running the White's house. Yeah, there's all sorts going on there. I mean, they've exposed all sorts. But again, it says it all, doesn't it, really, when the law enforcement are just like, we're going to totally just cover up things for this guy. Madness. It's absolutely madness. People aren't fans of Sonic there in the chat there as well either. We're getting close now to the end. The women going to Turkey like pipe. They're good plumbers there according to the chat. Chris Quirk says, hello Ninja and chat, how's all? Hope you're well there. The joke about Tremor and was 3 white men and 2 natives were arrested, says Frank Byrne. I saw the video there that came from Finglas, by the way, as well too, where there was 2 fellas that were following around young girls, allegedly, speculatively, and they were arrested there. Fair play to the Gardaí, getting out and doing a bit there. Fergus Power says, Ninja Night, apparently Denzel Washington is playing Michael Collins in the Netflix version, brother. Good night and God bless everyone in this fight. Stay positive and never have any fear. Aaron Gabra, legend, absolutely legend. Do you know what? Equalizer 3, and I'll say, not fairness, looks decent enough. But no, not Michael Collins. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Thanks very much for tonight. Another enjoyable Friday night. 3 hours clocked in there as well. Fly as it does all the time, and every single time I come on here. Thanks again. Look after yourselves. Have a blessed weekend. Keep up the good work. Keep up waking people up, and keep talking to them about what's going on. And I'll talk to you later. Good luck.